Yuan Mushian couldn't escape from the space binding coming with the flame waves. He could only take it head-on. Yuan Mushian's tree bark like skin started to seep out black oil. Yuan Mushian couldn't escape from the space binding coming with the flame waves. He could only take it head-on. Yuan Mushian's tree bark like skin started to seep out black oil. Yuan Mushian kept burning essence blood, an immortal essence, while the bell wailed. It grew even bigger, wanting to block Yi Mo's firewall. Thud! The firewall clashed with the bell. The bell instantly shrunk, and Yi Mo's firewall dimmed down. Yuan Mushian breathed easy. This dimmed flame might heavily injure him, but there was no way for it to kill him. But the next moment, he was completely dazed. He saw an even stronger fifth wall smashing over. This time, he was truly terrified. How much spirit sense and immortal essence would be needed to use immortal flame and smash out 5 walls consecutively like this? How terrifying was Yi Mo's control over flame? He really wanted to flee immediately, but he was bound by the wave kill. The only thing he could do was cover himself in the bell. Rumble. The 5th flame wall came, and the bell was covered in flames. In a few seconds, it shrunk to a palm-sized bell. Yuan Mushian howled and was thrown out by the bell and turned into a ball of flame. Inside the flame, a tree root kept shaking and begging for mercy. "So you really are a block of wood." Yi Mo sneered as his immortal essence rose, and the sound in the flame suddenly stopped. Dust flew everywhere. There were tree roots becoming self-conscious, but this was the first time Yi Mo saw one cultivate to Yuan Mushian's level. However, since Beiwei almost died in his hands, how could Yi Mo let Yuan Mushian live? The 5 firewalls smashed out an extremely deep ravine at the battlefield. Even space itself was rippling due to the flames. Sect Leader Yi, thank you for saving my life. If I didn't see Sect Leader Yi today, I probably wouldn't be alive. Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, suppressed his shock and bowed to Yi Mo. He knew Yi Mo was strong, but didn't expect Yi Mo was this strong. He could easily kill Yuan Mushian. None of the 4 Grand Emperors could do this easily. Didn't this mean Yi Mo was equal to, or even beyond, the 4 Grand Emperors? Yi Mo took Yuan Mushian's storage ring and the dull bell. I've long wanted to kill this bastard. Now that I saw him today, how could I let him go? Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, thanked again and said, Sect Leader Yi, I have nowhere to go now. Yuan Mushian is dead, and the power behind Xian Lan Merchant Association still hasn't come out. I'm quite unsettled. I want to join MOU Immortal Sect, but I'm afraid that might bring trouble to MOU Immortal Sect. Yi Mo smiled. Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, I annihilated Xian Lan Merchant Association, and I ordered it to be shut down. Even if you don't join, would the Merchant Association not come for trouble? I'm never afraid of any trouble. If Brother Zhongkong wants to join my MOU Immortal Sect, I welcome you greatly. If what Eugene Xiang said was true, the power behind the Xian Immortal Ascension Merchant Association is that Blood Cauldron Grand Emperor who might still be injured. He wasn't even scared of Feng Kong Grand Emperor. How could he be scared of Blood Cauldron Grand Emperor? Thank you for taking me in, Sect Leader Yi. Zhongkong is willing to join MOU Immortal Sect. Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, said in joy. Yi Mo gave a jade card to Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor. Go to Gonghua Heaven and find Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor. Let him bring you into the sect. Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, is now part of MOU Immortal Sect? Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, was dazed. He thought that after he joined MOU Immortal Sect, he would be the strongest after the sect leader. Yi Mo nodded. Yeah, other than me, there are 2 divine emperors. They are Kai Mi and Chu Chen, Divine Emperor. There are 3 immortal emperors, Qing Wei, Abyssal Rivers Dunyang, Ji Lei, Immortal Emperor, and He Chong, Immortal Emperor. With you, there will be 4 immortal emperors. Hearing this, Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, was completely numb. Was this a low heaven domain sect? This was clearly the #1 sect of the immortal realm. With such power in the immortal realm, which sect could compare with him? He was an immortal emperor primary stage. This was nothing in the MOU Immortal Sect. After a long while, Zhongkong, Immortal Emperor, recovered and said, Sect Leader Yi, Are you going back to the sect now? Yemo shook his head. I still have some things I can't go back yet. You can go and choose a peak for your cultivation home. As for the sect rules, Lu Feng will tell you. Zhong Kong, Immortal Emperor, left, and Yemo left Yu Heaven in disappointment. A few days later, Yemo came to the Void Palace. He thought there would be tens of people here, but when he came, he only saw 3 here. Other than Kai Mi, there was Kuei Qian, Immortal Emperor, and Shin Kuan, Immortal Emperor. On top of that, Yemo found there was a long-distance teleportation formation here. Before Yemo asked anything, the 3 Immortal Emperors came up to greet Yemo. What is this? Yemo asked, and then immediately saw the stone tablet there. He had repaired this palace before, and now with one glance, Yemo knew this place was repaired again. The person who did this had much greater skills than him. Yemo didn't look at the tablet and just studied the formation, thinking, when did the Immortal Realm have such a formation master? Sect leader. The formation here was indeed reset by a powerful being. The person is the person we guessed before. Have a look at the tablet and you'll know, Kaimi explained. He waited here for Yemo. Yemo looked at the tablet once. Some Immortal Emperors have entered the other realm through the Void Formation door. Some people went back to their sects to arrange things. The teleportation formation here is newly set. It goes to Fendu Heaven. Kuei Qian, Immortal Emperor, and Shin Kuan, Immortal Emperor, are the guardians here, Kaimi said. Yemo breathed easy. Since this formation was repaired, he wouldn't need to worry so much. Although that the powerful being said this formation was only a temporary solution, Yemo believed he would reach Dao Vindication sooner or later. He had to go into the God Necropolis domain. Plus, he needed to go see why the cultivation realm couldn't have Immortal Ascension again. Kuei Qian, Immortal Emperor, and Shin Kuan, Immortal Emperor, saw that Yemo seemed to need to talk to Kaimi, so they moved to the side. Yemo waved up a sound barrier restriction and asked, Brother Kaimi, I want to go to the cultivation realm, but I can't find a way down. I can't tear open the Immortal Realm void now. Hearing this, Kaimi frowned. Sect leader, it's not easy to go to the cultivation realm. When I helped Lu Jingchuan go to the cultivation realm, I used an ancient realm traversing formation as well as a few realm traversing rune. It can only let hollow immortals go down or golden immortals who suppress their power to hollow immortal. Great immortals definitely can't go down, and that ancient formation can no longer be used. Yemo's heart sunk. If he can't go down, how he can solve the issue? Sect leader, why are you desperate to go down to the cultivation realms? Kaimi saw Yemo's face wasn't too good and asked. Luo, you cultivation realm couldn't have Immortal Ascension. I broke a few seal flags in the West Extreme State. However, in such a short time, they can't ascend again, so I want to see. Yemo sighed. Kaimi blushed and bowed to Yemo. Sect leader, I taught Lu Jingchuan to do this to protect some things. At the same time, I opened another formation. Not only the Luo Yu cultivation realm cultivators, but the other cultivation realm cultivators can't ascend either. The seal flag you broke has self-repair function. Within time, it would completely repair and prevent the cultivation realm from ascending. Don't worry, sect leader, leave this to me. Yemo realized. No wonder the rest of the seal flags that exploded disappeared. They were stealthed and only made the illusion that they exploded. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Not right. Yemo immediately remembered that Lu Jingchuan hid the world tree at Luo Yu continent. Why did Kaimi seal the other cultivation realm's Immortal Ascension tunnel? Not right. Yemo immediately remembered that Lu Jingchuan hid the world tree at Luo Yu continent. Why did Kaimi seal the other cultivation realm's Immortal Ascension tunnel? Kaimi was cunning, and without Yemo needed to ask, he said, if only Luo Yu cultivation realm was prevented from Immortal Ascension and people noticed, perhaps they would soon be able to find out about the world tree. I took Lu Jingchuan to activate the ancient Immortal Ascension restriction formation, allowing countless cultivation realms to be unable to Immortal Ascend. That way, no one would be able to find their way to Luo Yu continent. The immortal realm has an immortal ascension restriction formation? Yemo asked in confusion. Kaimi nodded. That's right. This formation is to restrict the cultivators ascending to the immortal realm, since most immortal ascension cultivators are extremely talented. Yemo asked with more confusion. Isn't that good for the immortal realm? Why limit their immortal ascension? Kaimi said, I'm not very sure about this either. I just heard in the ancient times, the immortal realm wasn't just inhabited by immortals. There were also immortal spirit beast and immortal demonic realm. Comparatively, immortals were the weakest of the three, but whenever the immortal realm had talented cultivators ascend to the immortal realm, these cultivators would soon grow to the peak immortal emperors. The immortal spirit beasts and immortal demons didn't have such an advantage. As time went on, immortals had more advantage and devoured large amounts of their land. Eventually, the entire immortal realm became the world of the immortals. Immortal spirit beasts and immortal demons diminished, becoming the pets of immortals. Even if they exist somewhere, it would be faraway corners. Hearing about immortal demons, Yemo thought of Zhongpiao Heaven. They were almost annihilated by immortal demons. If he didn't use his heaven flame 9 suns, there would be no immortals in Zhongpiao Heaven. If there could be that many demonic immortal spirit beasts there, who's to say it would appear elsewhere? You're saying that the immortal ascension restriction formation isn't set up by immortals, but demonic immortal spirit beast or immortal spirit beast? Yemo asked. That's right. They want to prevent the prodigies of the immortal realm ascending, so they set up that formation. Despite this, the immortal demonic realm was gradually taken over by immortals, and the immortal spirit beast went into those harsh lands. Kaimi answered and said, Where is that formation? Since you opened the formation, why can I break the immortal ascension restriction at Luo Yu continent? This formation is Jin Shang Heaven. All 9 divine emperors know about this formation. Jin Shang Heaven was named after this formation. Because this formation isn't complete, and after this many years of ruins, it no longer has the effect to restrict immortal ascension. I used my secret treasure to barely allow Lu Jingxuan to repair the formation. Even if I don't touch it, the formation would disappear after a while. As for West Extreme State Sand River, I set up seal flags just for there. The thing was at Luo Yu continent, and I was afraid she would spill, so I set up seal flags just for it. Yemo finally understood and said, Go to Jin Shang Heaven and destroy this immortal ascension restriction formation. There's also another thing I want to ask you. You probably set up the demon realm in West Extreme State, right? Is the Heaven Gang 36 domains in the West Extreme State related to you? Kaimi denied. I only set up a barrier formation at Luo Yu continent. I don't know about the 36 heaven domains and wouldn't care about such a little thing in the cultivation realm. I did let Lu Jingxuan set up the demon realm, but that's just to hide the chi of the tree. I understand, Yemo said. By the way, Dragon River Grand Emperor asked me to tell you something. You asked him about the purple-robed man. There's news of him now. He knew about the thing here and used the Void Formation Gate to enter the Broken Realm, Kaimi said. Yemo was shocked. You said that the purple-robed man entered through here? What about Dragon River Grand Emperor? Kaimi could tell that the purple-robed man was very important to Yemo and said, Dragon River Grand Emperor went back to organize things. After that, he will be entering the Broken Realm from here. When did that purple-robed man leave? Yemo asked desperately. The purple-robed man probably already knew about him and the stone stools. That's why he wanted to go to the higher realm to vindicate Dao. If he vindicated Dao first, then Yemo would have to flee again. Thinking about this, Yemo no longer had the mood to stay here. He quickly said to Kaimi, Open the Immortal Ascension Tunnel to the Cultivation Realm, and you can vindicate Dao in the sect. I have to go into the Broken Realm now. If the other Immortal Emperors in MOU Immortal Sect want to enter the Broken Realm, there has to be at least one Immortal Emperor guarding the sect. I understand, before I vindicate Dao again, I won't go to the Broken Realm, Kaimi said. Yemo left things to Kaimi and greeted the other 2 Immortal Emperors before charging in. He definitely couldn't allow that purple-robed man to vindicate Dao first. The stone stool was too important to him. His Tao and future would be related to it. At the same time in the Ice God Palace, tens of Ice God Palace sect members stood on the two sides. Sitting at the top was the big palace Lord Su Lian. Qingru, Master, chose her own path. We need to respect her decision. Now that our saint has returned, the Ice God Palace will soon no longer shut itself in this icy world. It's time for us to offer our power for the Ice God Palace. A green-robed woman was speaking. This was the third palace lord. Yes, Qingru, we're really happy you can come back. I believe the big palace lord is even happier. I just hope you can help Xuan and let her lead Ice God Palace to be the #1 sect in the immortal realm, the big palace lord said softly. Qingru got up and bowed. Big and third palace lord. Qingru is determined to leave, but this is the first time our Ice God Palace is participating in the Eternal Night Forest trial. Qingru will help Saint Xuan at all cost. Palace Lord Su Lian sighed and said nothing more. Qingru sighed. She knew others thought she was leaving because her saint position was taken away, but only she knew it wasn't. She wanted to leave because she saw the scene she saw in the cultivation realm here again. Countless women were frozen into ice peaks just for the saint heritage of the Ice God Palace. Just for the Ice God Palace to have an extremely strong saint. She was very disappointed in this practice. The previous big palace lord couldn't stand this and thus resigned and left. The Ice God Palace only had one true saint in history, and that was Saint Xuan. Every time Xuan couldn't reincarnate, they would find a substitute. The most powerful one in the Ice God Palace wasn't the palace lord nor immortal emperor, but Saint Xuan. The Ice God Palace had always sealed their sect, but one simple word from Xuan broke this tradition of many years to participate in the Eternal Night Forest trial. She just said, if everyone hides at home to cultivate, we will never become the #1 emperor sect in the immortal realm. Eternal Night Forest was a secret realm in Jinshang Heaven that provided immortals below great immortal to go trial. There were some rare treasures, but the lethality rate was very high. That's why the big and third palace lord kept asking Qingru to protect Nie Xuan. Nie Xuan sat at the right of the top seat, and her face was extremely calm. In that case, let's move out now. I'll lead the sect members this time, third palace lord said. Dashing lights left the Ice God Palace. Qingru controlled her flying ship calmly. She looked back at the distancing Ice God Palace and had made up her mind. She would never come back again. Martial sister Qingru, can I ride your flying ship? Nie Xuan chased up to Qingru and smiled. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Of course. Qingru smiled and slowed her ship, opening the restrictions. Of course. Qingru smiled and slowed her ship, opening the restrictions. Nie Xuan put away her flying magic artifact and landed on Qingru's flying ship. Martial sister Qingru, your flying ship is so pretty. Its design is completely different than ours. Nie Xuan immediately felt something on this ship. The design was familiar to her, but it was different from all the other flying magic artifacts of the immortal realm. A friend of mine gave me this. Saint Xuan, please have a seat. Qingru poured a cup of immortal tea for Nie Xuan. Nie Xuan drank it and said, your friend is really nice to you. If I'm not wrong, this is an extreme grade flying magic artifact that's beyond a level 9 immortal artifact. Qingru smiled. Probably, I still haven't congratulated Saint Xuan on returning to the Ice God Palace. Qingru will cheer, Saint a cup of tea. Then, Qingru brought up the tea and drank. Nie Xuan sighed. Martial sister Qingru, if you really consider me a sister, then call me martial sister Xuan. No matter what my previous life was, you're my martial sister now. It seems so distant to call me Saint Xuan. Okay, martial sister Xuan, I'll drink first for respect. Qingru finished the cup. Nie Xuan drank the entire cup too, and then said to Qingru, martial sister Qingru, are you so set on leaving the Ice God Palace due to me? Martial sister Qingru, your talent is no weaker than mine. In terms of looks, although I'm very confident, I know I'm far from you. You're the most beautiful out of all the women I've seen. You're actually more suited to be the saint than me. Qing Ru fell silent for a long time before saying slowly, Martial's sister Shuang Shuang, I'm not good at expressing my thoughts. If I say it's not due to you, then that would be a lie, but the real reason isn't what you think. Qing Ru is only happy that you can come back to the Ice God Palace and be the saint. I'm not jealous at all. Qing Ru left the Ice God Palace not due to Nie Shuang Shuang becoming the saint, but because of what Ice God Palace did in order to welcome back the saint and the heritage. After the big palace lord left, the Ice God Palace was no longer the same Ice God Palace. Nie Shuang Shuang fell silent. After a long while, she asked, Martial's sister Qing Ru, in the times you've had before, was there someone you liked or someone who liked you? Qing Ru looked dazedly at Nie Shuang Shuang. They were all Dao cultivators, so she didn't know why Nie Shuang Shuang asked this, but now that she did, she thought carefully. She realized that there really wasn't someone she liked. As for whether anyone liked her, she didn't know either. Do you have someone you want to repay a favor? Nie Shuang Shuang asked Qing Ru, but seemed to be asking herself too. The face of the previous big palace lord flashed across her mind. She owed the most in her life to the previous big palace lord. Then, she thought of Yimo. He brought her from the cultivation realm to the Ice God Palace and saved her with level 9 immortal pills and gave her a flying magic artifact. Nie Shuang Shuang asked but didn't seem to need a response. She then said to herself, I couldn't have come to the Ice God Palace in this lifetime, but he brought me to the cultivation realm and then to the immortal realm. He saved me more than once, and even, he's the person you like? Qing Ru saw Nie Shuang Shuang stop talking and asked. Nie Shuang Shuang nodded. Yes, if I didn't know I was the Ice God Palace saint, if I didn't know about all these things, Nie Shuang Shuang fell silent. If she didn't know all this, she wouldn't do those things. When she became the first Ice God Palace saint, she swore to her martial ancestor and Heaven Dao that if she couldn't lead Ice God Palace to be the highest sect in the immortal realm, she would never vindicate Dao. Anything that prevented her from vindicating Dao would be killed mercilessly. Qing Ru did speak. She really wanted to ask who was the man Nie Shuang Shuang liked, and where was he now? Seeing Qing Ru's expression, Nie Shuang Shuang laughed in self-mockery. In order to bring Ice God Palace to the peak, I wouldn't mind even if I reincarnated again. So I hope that you can stay and help me at the Ice God Palace. Your talent is so excellent you will definitely be one of the top immortal emperors of the Ice God Palace. She continued talking. That man came from a poor mortal realm. I don't know how he brought me to the immortal realm, but it probably took quite some effort. When he just came to the immortal realm, his cultivation level was low, and he wanted to buy a soul return fruit to save me. He met an immortal king, and that immortal king liked my talent, so they took me away. That immortal king saved me, and I was taken to the Ice God Palace. MSS Shuang Shuang. You only took 200 or so years to come from the lower realm. Wouldn't that person who brought you up be even weaker? Have you thought about looking for him? Qing Ru asked. Nie Shuang Shuang looked at the clouds and said calmly, When I woke up, I did want to go find him. That immortal king who saved me said golden immortal would be the highest he can reach in his life. She said that he and I wouldn't be of the same world and told me to give up looking for him. I didn't bring this up again, but just used time to cultivate and plan to go find him when I had the power. Then you came to the Ice God Palace and knew about your past life, so Qing Ru said. Nie Shuang Shuang sighed. Yes, after realizing who I was, I knew it was the end for me and him. I severed all my ties with him and decided to forget about him. However, the world doesn't go as you please. What happened? Nie Shuang Shuang fell silent for a long while and said, He actually found his way to the Ice God Palace. I still don't understand how he got here. I asked Palace Lord Shu and Martial Uncle Ji1, but they said they didn't know but didn't want to tell me. This man is so determined. Then what happened? Qing Ru almost broke the cup in her hands but didn't notice it. Nie Shuang Shuang shook her head. You don't understand. He came to the Ice God Palace to find me or was worried about me, but I know that it has nothing to do with love. I once saved him. Perhaps that's why he came to find me. Then, where is that person now? Qing Ru asked. Nie Shuang Shuang continued. I once made the oath that I would not be distracted by anything else. In order to vindicate my determination, Qing Ru's heart squeezed as she got up. She took emotions and relationships seriously. She had the feeling that Nie Shuang Shuang killed the person who saved her as well as the person she liked. She couldn't accept this. Nie Shuang Shuang laughed in self-mockery. You probably guessed it, in order to prove myself. I killed him. I tricked him into that room. That room wasn't mine, and then activated the number 1 formation, Ice God Formation. I don't want to have anything to do with the Ice God Palace. Just tell me how to leave here, and I will be very grateful. No need. Thanks for bringing me out. I saved you, but you saved me too. We don't owe each other. Go back to Ice God Palace. Don't worry about me getting revenge. I never thought about it. Anyone who was hurt like this would be extremely sad. Qing Ru suddenly felt her decision to leave the Ice God Palace was right. She just realized that the person who saved her didn't lie at all. At the same time, she realized why Yi Mo didn't want to have anything to do with the Ice God Palace. Nie Shuang Shuang tried to kill him, but he still didn't want to get revenge, purely because Nie Shuang Shuang saved him once. So that's how Shuang Shuang's flying ship came. Qing Ru was bitter in her heart. I asked the Big Palace Lord to activate the Ice God Formation out of respect for him. Luckily, the Big Palace Lord agreed. Nie Shuang Shuang looked at Qing Ru. Everything I've done is for the Ice God Palace. I hope you can do the same. Qing Ru thought about Yi Mo being trapped and suddenly realized this had nothing to do with Nie Shuang Shuang's sacrifice. The person who made the sacrifices was the person trapped. She got up and slowly shook her head. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. After Yi Mo entered the Void Formation gates, he felt a little dizzy. When he cleared up his mind, there was a patch of mist in front of him. It was different than what Feng Kong Grand Emperor and them said. There was a tunnel in this mist. After Yi Mo entered the Void Formation gates, he felt a little dizzy. When he cleared up his mind, there was a patch of mist in front of him. It was different than what Feng Kong Grand Emperor and them said. There was a tunnel in this mist. Yi Mo quickly went out along the tunnel, and in just 5 minutes, he walked out of this tunnel. When he turned back, the mist was already gone. He was in barren wilderness. As a top-level Immortal Formation Grandmaster, of course Yi Mo knew what was going on. This was probably left behind intentionally by those powerful beings. Otherwise, people would be walking around in the mist again for decades. Despite knowing that he wouldn't be able to find a way back, Yi Mo still started to plant his Spirit Sense Marks formation flags. Now he couldn't find the way back, but that didn't mean he couldn't in the future. Once his formation skills reached a certain level, he would come back here again. After doing this, Yi Mo started to look at what was in front of him. His spirit sense extended out only 1% that of the immortal realm. One could see that even though the space laws were broken here, it was still sturdier than the immortal realm. He felt the chi here was very impure. There seemed to be chi higher level than immortal spirit chi, but he couldn't really feel it, or at least he couldn't really devour it. He could only see barren wilderness here. Other than that, there were ravines everywhere. There were some subtle cracks in the void too. If flying magic artifacts went past these crevices, they would be torn apart. Yi Mo took in a cold breath. This was no realm for survival. This was clearly a dangerous secret realm. He only saw these void cracks when he went in the Truthfall Palace in the cultivation realm, but here they were everywhere. Realizing the danger here, Yi Mo carefully moved deeper. After walking for another half a day, Yi Mo realized that the void crevices he saw before were nothing. On the way, his spirit sense saw endless abyss and rivers flowing down from the air. He saw a dried, cracked-up river falling down in ruins. Huge mountain peaks were fallen, and all sorts of cracks ravaged the grounds. Just what happened here? Yi Mo looked at the scene in extreme shock. He didn't believe how people could live here if everywhere was like this. A sudden black figure appeared from a deep ravine and charged at Yi Mo. Yi Mo punched without hesitation, using his fist god, Art Void. Yi Mo's immortal essence and spirit sense had reached a certain level. Although he felt his god, Art seemed to be limited by heaven and earth and not as satisfying as in the immortal realm, it was still astoundingly powerful. This punch immediately swept up the space lethal force and clashed with the black figure. Rumble Yemo felt an extremely powerful concussion force. He was immediately struck flying, and that powerful force instantly broke up his body protection immortal essence and smashed onto his chest. Spitting out a mouthful of blood, Yemo immediately released Zisu. This black shadow was definitely stronger than Feng Kong Grand Emperor. However, Yemo clearly worried too much. The black shadow was struck flying too. After being hit by Yemo's void punch, there was a hideous shriek, and the figure left behind a shadow and felt so powerful. Yemo quickly ate an immortal pill and found that he was falling down into a huge ravine. Tins of space rays sliced towards at him. At this moment, Yemo felt his immortal essence pause and couldn't move aside in time. He sighed and could only wait till the space rays hit him before leaving the ravine. He felt the threat of these sword rays. Even if he didn't move aside, they would at most tear open his clothes. The instant that those sword rays were about to hit Yemo, a red beam swept over. When Yemo's spirit sense touched that red beam, he knew that this red beam was trying to pull him away instead of hurting him. He immediately grabbed that red beam and used it to dodge the void sword rays. Yemo landed and found that it was a woman who saved him. But even if she didn't help him, he would be fine. This woman didn't look old. Her skin was dark and her eyes big. Her waist was tightly bound and there was a gourd tied to it. Yemo was shocked to see that he couldn't see her cultivation level. Yemo felt very strange. He felt this woman wasn't stronger than him, but he couldn't see her cultivation level. Was this due to her stealth cultivation method? If I didn't save you, you would be dead for sure if you fell into that ravine. Your cultivation level seems to reach Immortal Emperor, but your chi is unstable and your foundation is very shallow. The dark-faced, big-eyed woman studied Yemo and said. Her accent was different to the immortal realm, but Yemo could still understand. The language difference wasn't huge. Chi not stable? Yemo was speechless. This was the first time he heard someone say this about him. Although he used the time formation disc to cultivate, he had bitter bamboo, golden page world, and most importantly, the three-birth chant. How could his foundation be unstable? And you don't have any god spirit chi on you. Are you not from the god necropolis domain? The woman guessed. Yemo quickly copied her accent and said, I have been cultivating in a cultivation home for countless years and just came out. Thanks for saving me. However, this woman nodded. You're right. I did save your life. Otherwise, if you fell into the ravine, even a god wouldn't be able to save you. So you've been solo cultivating in a cultivation home. You probably didn't use god crystals to cultivate. Otherwise, your foundation wouldn't be this unstable. The woman felt her face and said, It seems I need to go into solitary cultivation for a while. Compared to you, I seem a bit dark. Yemo ignored these words. The only thing he heard was god crystals. He had realized now why she said his foundation was unstable. That was because he used immortal crystals and immortal ranges in the immortal realm. Immortal crystals were lower level than god crystals. Using immortal crystals to cultivate would seem shallow in this realm. Those who used god crystals to cultivate could tell easily. The reason he couldn't see her cultivation level might be due to this. Yes, I have very few god crystals, so my foundation is unstable. Can you lend me a few god crystals? Yemo quickly saluted with his fists and asked. The woman looked in a daze at Yemo. I saved you, and you didn't show me any gratitude. Yet you still want to borrow god crystals from me? Did I hear correctly? Yemo could only say awkwardly, I'm very poor right now, and indeed don't have anything on me. The woman nodded. I can tell, so I don't need any god crystals or god pills from you. I saw your punch striking away. That low-level mist demon beast was quite good. Can you teach me? That black shadow was a mist demon beast? How come it looked that similar to that demonic immortal spirit beast? Then Yemo realized that this woman probably saw him already and was waiting on the side to save him and ask for something in return. I can teach you, but before Yemo finished, she threw out more than 10 white crystals. These are low-grade god crystals. I really can't believe you. I saved you, and you didn't even give me a gift. And yet you want God crystals from me first. Yemo grabbed these God crystals and found that they were the exact same as the ones Dragon River Grand Emperor brought back. He couldn't devour the God crystals before, because it was Dragon River Grand Emperor's. But now Yemo immediately started devouring the energy inside. It was powerful chi, completely different to immortal spirit chi. It was very little in amount, but it benefited Yemo immeasurably. Yemo was certain that if he had enough God crystals, he wouldn't need long to reach Immortal Emperor Peak stage. This was even better than an extreme grade immortal range. Don't devour Golden Core state here. It's very dangerous here. There are mist demon beasts, and if they come in packs, we will never be able to leave, the dark-faced young girl said, unhappily seeing Yemo forget to teach her his god art. Yemo put away the god crystals awkwardly and quickly inscribed the void god art on the jade slip and gave it to her. This is my god art. It's yours. Also, can you lend me some more god crystals? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. You still want my cultivation stones? I don't have many, but you can have them if you trade with something in exchange. The woman glanced at Yemo's jade slip and instantly took it. You still want my cultivation stones? I don't have many, but you can have them if you trade with something in exchange. The woman glanced at Yemo's jade slip and instantly took it. Yemo took out the Lu Ming Guang Yen Bell and the broken immortal subjugation metal tree root. See if you want these two magic artifacts. The young girl was clearly knowledgeable. The broken tree root was SSO, but she immediately grabbed the bell and exclaimed, "This is a magic artifact that can be upgraded, and it has been upgraded to extreme grade immortal artifact." The young girl grabbed the bell in disbelief. She added, "You're going to sell me this magic artifact?" An upgradable extreme grade immortal artifact was worth far more than a low grade god artifact. That's why this girl was so shocked. Yemo nodded. That's right, if you wanted, then name a price. Yemo had no use for the bell, and those who were close to him didn't use fire element magic artifacts. Plus, he needed god crystals to stabilize his cultivation level. The woman felt the bell with love. I really like this magic artifact, but even if I give you all my god crystals, I can't afford it. Plus, you have two. Although the other one is a bit broken, I still really like it. How many god crystals do you have? Yemo asked. At the same time, he rejoiced. He didn't know how much the bell was worth, but since this woman said she couldn't afford it, it meant that it had high value. I still have 3,000 top-grade god crystals, 10,000 middle-grade god crystals, and less than 10,000 low-grade god crystals, the woman said with embarrassment. She knew that her few god crystals couldn't even buy a corner of the magic artifact. Yemo thought that this woman was this rich, but only gave him 10 god crystals, and they were low-grade. At least she was rather honest. Then how much is my bell worth? Yemo asked. I'm not certain of its price, but probably a few 100,000. But if it's to be upgraded again, it would need countless materials. I believe even if it can't be upgraded, it's worth tens of thousands of god crystals. I'm very poor. Even if you ask for 50,000 god crystals, I can't afford it. The woman put down the bell in pity. After thinking about this, she took out I have a decent god abyss rock, but even together, it's still not worth your bell. Yemo took the tree root back and said, I can sell you the bell, just give me all your god crystals and that god abyss stone. Then you write me an IOU for 40k top grade god crystals. Is that okay? Yemo had heard of god abyss stone, but had never seen it. It could be used to forge storage magic artifacts that were beyond immortal artifacts. Yemo needed this. His storage ring was too low level. With this stone, he could reforge his storage ring. You're willing to accept an IOU? The woman looked at Yemo in joy. She didn't know Yemo, but he was still this generous and willing to accept an IOU. This thing had no binding power at all. Of course Yemo was willing. He just arrived in this realm and hadn't even stabilized his power. If he didn't quickly do that, it wouldn't be good. Now that this black-faced woman seemed like a nice person, he might as well try to get her god crystals. Plus, the bell had no use for him. Of course, you just need to tell me where I can find you. I believe your character. At least you saved me once, right? Yemo said. Hearing this, the woman really believed Yemo and took out a storage bag for Yemo. All my god crystals are in here. I'll write the I. She marked an IOU as quickly as she could on the jade slip and grabbed the bell. I'm Neo Rinnin from Hung God Corner. I need to say that in the short term, I won't be able to pay you back, Neo Rinnin said. Since Yemo let her write the IOU, he never planned for her to give the god crystals to him. He just needed time to convert his immortal essence to god essence. I know. Since I let you owe me, then of course you can pay me back when you can. What are you doing here alone? Yemo waved his hand. Neo Rinnin said, of course to hunt mist demon beasts. Their beast cores are very valuable. I missed the time due to solitary cultivation. Otherwise, I wouldn't be coming alone. If you have nowhere to go, you can come with me to Hung God Corner. We can team up to hunt mist demon beasts and go to the Tuaw Dragon Castle to exchange for god crystals and god pills. Yemo needed to stabilize his power, so he wouldn't be leaving now. I won't go now. I have some business. After I'm done, I will go to the Tuaw Dragon Castle and see. Perhaps I will go to your Hung God Corner, Yemo said casually. Neo Rinnin clearly wanted to go back quickly and spirit control the bell. So she said, in that case, I'm going. By the way, what's your name? I'm Yemo. I'll come find you in a few months, Yemo said. No problem, Neo Rinnin replied and left. Seeing this, Yemo left quickly too. 6 hours later, Yemo found a cultivation home in a slanted peak. He went inside and set up a stealth formation before going in the Golden Page world. He carefully put 7 low-grade god crystals on the time formation disk and found that the time formation disk didn't go much faster, but the usage of god crystals was much slower. Yemo started to use low-grade god crystals to convert his immortal essence. The god crystals contained god spirit chi and were constantly devoured by Yemo. Soon, he pressurized his immortal essence into a new god essence. When Yemo used the low-grade and middle-grade god crystals, most of his immortal essence was converted to god essence. With his immortal essence being pressured, his cultivation level started to drop while his power was increasing. As he devoured more god crystals, his cultivation level didn't drop very fast. A few months passed in the time formation disk, and Yemo used 3,000 top-grade god crystals. All his immortal essence were pretty much converted to god essence. His cultivation level didn't increase, but this powerful feeling shocked even Yemo. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Yemo stopped cultivating and used the God Abyss Stone to forge a new storage ring. Although it wasn't a low-grade god artifact yet, it was a top extreme grade immortal artifact. Due to this, he could put Zisu inside. Yemo stopped cultivating and used the God Abyss Stone to forge a new storage ring. Although it wasn't a low-grade god artifact yet, it was a top extreme grade immortal artifact. Due to this, he could put Zisu inside. Zisu's level was too low, and Yemo really wanted to reforge it, but he really didn't have many high-level materials. He got a few ores from the Void Palace, but he didn't know any of them. After he packed his things, he left the Golden Page world. As soon as Yemo walked out, another dark figure dashed over. With his past experience, he knew this was a mist demon beast ambush. His immortal essence had pretty much converted to god essence. He released Zisu the same time the black figure came charging. Red mist splashed out with a scream. A dark gray beast core fell to the floor. If there wasn't that laying on the ground, Yemo would have thought he killed a gust of mist. The mist demon beast was on par with the one that ambushed him before. Previously, he was evenly matched with that mist demon beast, but after 90% of his immortal essence was converted to god essence, his power increased so much. After taking the beast core, Yemo left here quickly to find Neo Rinnin. Yemo walked for a few days, and the land finally eased up. There were less messy mountains and ravines. There was more god spirit chi and less void crevices in the space. Yemo had decided to take out his space-time boat to travel. rumble, a terrifying space chi wave, immediately made Yemo stop. Before he could scan his spirit sense out, a few figures dashed past him. The next moment, a huge palm print appeared in his spirit sense. At the same time, a fist print not much smaller than the palm appeared in his spirit sense. His sea of consciousness was bursting with pain. He couldn't even look directly at this clash. The explosion sounded, and the nearby space immediately dimmed. The nearby rocks and rivers seemed to be tipped over a few times. As the fist and palm clashed, the flat earth was ravaged and the rivers were tipped over. After that clash, the two fighters were gone instantly. Yemo took in a cold breath. The powers of these two fighters was something he couldn't even look at. Most importantly, this was where everyone lived. If these powerful beings fought however they liked, wouldn't this broken world be more broken? Looking at these terrifying ravines and cracks, Yemo was speechless. He could imagine that if this continued, this broken realm would eventually cease to exist. Those few people running came back to Yemo. "Dao friend, how do I call you? You're much bolder than us." A short-haired man came up and studied Yemo. Yemo saw that amongst the three, there were two who were just immortal monarch peak stage, and the short-haired man was a mortal emperor middle stage. However, their cultivation level was dense, and might be much stronger than people of the same level in the immortal realm. "I'm Yemo. I'm not bold. It's just that when the two Qin Bais fought, I couldn't dodge at all." Yemo saluted with his fists. That was two Dao actualization divine emperors fighting. You were lucky. If you were bound by a Dao actualization divine emperor's domain, you would have long since disappeared, the immortal emperor middle stage said. Yemo quickly thanked him and asked, "May I ask how to get to Hung God Corner?" "You're from Hung God Corner?" The short-haired immortal emperor studied Yemo. "No, I have a friend there. I have nowhere to go, so I'm planning to join her," Yemo answered. The short-haired man shook his head and took out a jade slip, marking a simple route for Yemo. "This is the map to Hung God Corner. I'll be straightforward. If it's your first time going there and your friend is an ordinary friend, perhaps you won't even get a servant job there." "Why?" Yemo asked. "That Hung God Corner is around Tuo Dragon Castle, so it's a decent place, but they're very xenophobic. It's very hard for outsiders to enter Hung God Corner, especially the young mistress of Hung God Corner. She's not only extremely beautiful, but also strong. She's just one step from Dao vindication. Her words are very powerful in there. She dislikes outsiders joining. Be careful and don't get caught in her hands. Otherwise, it may be hard to even survive. But if you can get a foothold there, you can get some cultivation resources and live much better than us running around everywhere." Then, the short-haired man shook his head and left with the other two. Yemo smiled. He didn't want to join Hung God Corner. He mainly wanted to ask if Neo Runin had god crystals to give him. If not, he would ask for some information about the god Necropolis domain from her and ways to earn god crystals. Yemo spent another 2 weeks before he saw the outline of the Hung God Corner. It seemed like a distant village, but coming here he could tell it wasn't. There were dense restrictions and formations. The God Corner was closely guarded. If one didn't go from the front, then they would be caught no matter which direction they approached the place. Other than a huge formation at the door, there was a wide road filled with blue stone boards. There were some trees on the two sides. There was God's spirit chi seeping out from the trees, but Yemo didn't recognize a single one of them. Yemo was speechless standing outside the God Corner. Although this was a broken realm, it was still a realm higher than the immortal realm. Yet looking at the design of the Hung God Corner, even an ordinary great immortal sect was countless times grander than here. Before Yemo went in, 2 guards blocked his path. Yemo quickly saluted with his fists. "I'm Neo Runin's friend. I came to find her. Please report to her." "Your martial sister Runin's friend? How come I didn't hear about you?" It wasn't the 2 guards talking, but a man behind Yemo. His face was pale and long, like a horse. There was a gray-robed man next to Horseface. Their cultivation level were both immortal emperor tertiary stage. "Yes, Neo Runin told me to find her here. That's why I came," Yemo said. Then, Yemo felt a spirit sense scan over him. It came from inside the hung god corner, but when his spirit sense wanted to scan in, it was blocked by a restriction. With Yi-Mo's current spirit sense power, he could break the restrictions, but he didn't dare to do this. The hung god corner doesn't allow foreigners go, the horse face said coldly. Let him in, a cold voice sounded. Yi-Mo knew this was a woman, and it was the one who scanned him with spirit sense. Yes, young mistress, the two guards said and bowed. The horse face sneered and went past Yi-Mo, going in the door first. Yi-Mo didn't mind. He came here to ask about things and collect some debt. Then he would leave. Yi-Mo walked along the path, and soon a figure flew over. It was Nyo Runin. Why did you only come here today? If it was a few days later, I was going to leave Hung God Corner. Good thing you came today. By the way, when you see the young mistress, you need to thank her. If it wasn't for her, you wouldn't be able to come in today, Nyo Runin said. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Yi-Mo could only say, I want to go check out Tuo Dragon Castle, so I came by Hung God Corner wanting to ask. Yi-Mo could only say, I want to go check out Tuo Dragon Castle, so I came by Hung God Corner wanting to ask. Nyo Runin interrupted him and said, You don't need to tell me, and I know you're coming to ask for debt. This isn't the place to talk. Come with me first. Yi-Mo followed her and left this blue stone road. Immediately, he felt a sliver of spirit sense sticking to him. He knew the spirit sense. It was the spirit sense that scanned him at the door. His 3-birth chant had great sensory capabilities, and his instinct was very powerful. There was no way that he couldn't sense this spirit sense that scanned him down so much. When Yi-Mo followed Nyo Runin into her room and Nyo Runin closed the door, the spirit sense left. Yi-Mo breathed easy. He really didn't being secretly watched like this. He just came here and didn't know most of the people here, but he was planning to leave already. Nyo Runin's room was simple and tidy, like her. There was just a jade bed and a small stone table with some cups. Nyo Runin poured a cup of tea for Yi-Mo and said, Yi-Mo, I know you came to ask for god crystals from me, but I get limited amounts each year, and I need to cultivate too, so I don't know how long it will take for me to pay you back. I'm thinking that I can ask for the young mistress to help you get a job here. At least you wouldn't need to venture out and find your own cultivation resources. Yi-Mo drank the tea and found it was worse than some sex immortal teas. There was not any god spirit chi nor taste. He put the tea down and said, I've always been in the cultivation home and solitary cultivation. I don't know a lot of things, so I want to ask you about some things. As for the god crystals you owe me, we can talk about it later. Okay, ask me. The bell you sold me is quite good. Even if I paid you all the debt, I still owe you a favor, Nyo Runin said. I only know that we're living at God Necropolis Domain, but I don't know how big it is. I heard it was a complete realm before, but for some reasons the realm is broken. Is this so? Yi-Mo asked. As for the 40K she owed him, he really didn't care. He trusted with his capabilities he would earn it sooner or later. Nyo Runin thought and said, I don't know very well. When I was born, this place was the broken god Necropolis Domain. As for borders, it's boundless. No one knows where the border of the god Necropolis Domain is, but this realm is indeed broken. There are very few habitable places in this realm. There aren't many safe havens like the Hung God Corner and Tuo Dragon Castle. Then can the strongest person here dominate the god Necropolis Domain? Yi-Mo asked. He wanted to know what the strongest person here was. Nyo Runin shook her head. No, Hung God Corner is strong in this region, but compared to the boundless god Necropolis Domain, it's nothing. I don't exactly know what the strongest person here is, but I heard it was Tao Actualization Divine Emperor. Isn't it Tao Essence after Tao Actualization? Yes, Tao Essence is divided into 4 stages: primary, middle, tertiary, and peak. After Tao Essence peak, you can pursue Primordial Essence. I heard that the god Necropolis Domain is broken and the laws are incomplete. One can't reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor here. Was the god Necropolis Domain called the god Realm before it was broken? You can call it that. I've seen in ancient texts that the god Necropolis Domain used to be called Divine Tao Realm. Only those immortals who vindicated Tao can enter here. Then something happened to the divine Tao realm, and it became broken. Then whose power is the strongest in the god Necropolis domain? What degree is it at? Yemo asked his final question. Neo Runin laughed. Hearing this, I know you know nothing. If there's a strongest person in the god Necropolis domain, would there be all this fighting every day? People fight for things every day, not caring if the god Necropolis domain is broken or not. In the god Necropolis domain, as long as you have power, you can do anything. Hearing this, Yemo frowned. His cultivation level was at the bottom, and there were countless people stronger than him. If he wasn't careful one day and encountered a murderous guy, wouldn't he be seeking death? You don't really need to worry. Those Tao Vindication powerful beings won't care about us little immortal emperors. Their level isn't something we can reach. Plus, most Tao Essence Divine Emperor peaks choose to leave the god Necropolis domain. Why are they leaving? Plus, where else can they go? Yemo was worried those Tao Essence Divine Emperor peaks would go find the immortal realm. Neo Runin looked at Yemo speechlessly. The god Necropolis domain's laws are broken, but the space is still stable. However, one can't reach Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. Once you reach a certain level, you can leave the god Necropolis domain and enter the universal space. There are countless planets floating outside the god Necropolis domain. They go out in search of an opportunity for Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. But I've only heard Tao Essence Divine Emperors leave, but never heard of them really reaching Primordial Essence Divine Emperor. In time, many Divine Emperors rarely leave the god Necropolis domain even if they reach Tao Essence. Thank you for teaching me martial Sister Runin. I'm going to leave now. Pay me back some god crystals. I don't mind how many you have. I have no god crystals on me now. Yemo got up and saluted with his fists. Neo Runin blushed. I really don't have much, but you used them up so quickly. It has only been a few months. Yemo was a little disappointed. He didn't want to stay here anymore. Just when he wanted to leave, he heard Neo Runin say, "This time the Muhua God Mountain is opening." Seeing Yemo frown and not talk, Neo Runin could only continue. No one will team up with you. Even if you enter the mountain, it would just be suicide. Seeing Yemo frown and not talk, Neo Runin could only continue. No one will team up with you. Even if you enter the mountain, it would just be suicide. Yemo immediately said, I won't go near the time whirlpools. I'll just stay at the safest area. Neo Runin rubbed her forehead and said, even if you want to find such a time whirlpool, it's extremely hard. You can't even see time whirlpools at the outskirts of the Mu Hua God Mountain. You would have to go to the deepest part of the mountain to find them. Only those who learn time laws would go in. We don't dare to go deep in the Mu Hua God Mountain, at most of the outskirts. The reason I'm saying you're seeking death is because there are many god beasts in the mountain. And if you encounter another squad and you're alone, then no one will let you go. You will die for certain. Yemo's main purpose was to actually go to the time whirlpool and feel the time law. Now that Neo Runin said this, he could only say, Martial Sister Runin, I want to go to Mu Hua God Mountain. I will be responsible for my own life and death. Please help me. If you can't, then please tell me how I can get in there. Then, Yemo picked up that tree root Neo Runin wasn't able to afford and said, you can have this too as payment. Neo Runin blushed. She wanted to reject it. She already owed Yemo 40,000 god crystals, and now she was going to owe Yemo even more. How about this? You can come with me to see the young mistress and see if I can give my spot to you. Neo Runin's words troubled Yemo. It was a fortune to go there. And if he took her fortune like this, he would be embarrassed. It's okay. The Mu Hua God Mountain opens frequently. If I don't go this time, I might have better luck next time. I'm just worried that young mistress won't let you team up. Neo Runin sighed. In that case, thank you, Martial Sister Nan. Regardless of whether it works out or not, I owe you a favor. Yemo really didn't want to let this opportunity go. If he went to Mu Hua God Mountain, it would mean that his power would increase another level. Neo Runin nodded. I'll take you to see young mistress. She's extremely beautiful, and just don't stare at her rudely. She hates this sort of people. I understand. Yemo immediately nodded. He already has people he loved and could even just casually glance at someone as beautiful as Qing Ru. How could he stare at a woman he didn't know rudely? Runin, you want someone irrelevant to represent our Hung God corner to enter the Mu Hua God Mountain. A blue-dressed woman asked Nyo Runin in front of Yemo. Yemo studied this young mistress. Sharp-faced, thin-lipped, she was indeed extremely beautiful, but her beauty was far lesser than Luo Ying and Jin Bingyu in Yemo's heart, much less Qing Ru. But hearing this, Yemo's heart sunk. The young mistress wasn't so easy to talk to. Sister Wan Man, I owe you quite some favors. He's my friend too. I want to give my spot to him. Before Nyo Runin finished, she was interrupted by the young mistress and reproached in a serious tone. Runin, every spot of our Hung God corner is very precious. How can you give it away like that? Young mistress looked at Runin's disappointed face and said, Of course I can give him a challenge spot. If he has the capability, then he can go in. If not, you've tried your best. There was disappointment in Nyo Runin's eye. Sister Wan Man, Yemo is only Immortal Emperor middle stage. Those who pass the challenge to enter the mountain are at least Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Most of them are Immortal Emperor peak or half divine. Making Yemo challenge them is, Yemo thought and asked, Martial Sister Runin, may I ask what this challenge spot is about? Nyo Runin explained, there are limited spots to enter the mountain each time. There are 16 God Corner powers in this region and 5 castles. The spots are pretty much split, but in order to take solo cultivators into consideration and some powers feel they don't have enough spots, they left 20 spots for challenge. Those who could pass the challenge are at least Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Yemo immediately understood what this was. He actually was confident in winning, so he quickly said, Thank you, Martial Sister Runin. I'll just have a challenge spot. If I fail, then I only have myself to blame. I won't blame Martial Sister Runin. Sai, we can only do this. But those challengers are crazy. They won't show you mercy. If you feel you can't beat them, then admit defeat and leave. Nyo Runin felt very bad that she accepted so many things from Yemo, but couldn't even get him a spot. She felt even worse that the challenge didn't need a spot. Anyone who came to the outskirts of the Mu Hua God Mountain could sign up and challenge. 3 days later, Yemo followed Hung God Corner's people to the Mu Hua God Mountain. After these 3 days, he realized he was scammed by the young mistress. But Yemo didn't care. He just needed to follow the group to the mountain. Without them, he wouldn't even know where the mountain was. From Nyo Runin, Yemo learned that each time the mountain was open, the number of people entering from the different powers were different. It was distributed based on their power. The stronger a power was, the more spots they had. Hung God Corner was ranked upper medium, so they had 20 spots. These 20 people could form 4 squads. Yemo stood in one corner of the flying ship. No one talked to him. If it wasn't for Nyo Runin, he would have been kicked off already. That horse-faced cultivator disliked him a lot. Nyo Runin seemed close to the young mistress, but couldn't really take care of him. Yemo didn't mind. He noticed that the leading man and woman of the flying ship were far beyond Immortal Emperor peak stage. Yemo didn't know Dao Actualization Divine Emperors, but he felt even if the two weren't Dao Actualization Divine Emperor, one of them was at least a Dao Nourishment Divine Emperor. 5 days later, Hung God Corner's flying ship landed on this ancient desert. Yemo hadn't got off from the flying ship yet and felt the ancient chi of this place. Then Yemo followed everyone off the ship. The chi of time flowing was so deep that he could even touch it. Yemo was very shocked. This wasn't even Mu Hua God Mountain yet, but there was such chi. If one entered the mountain, just how powerful would the time chi or the time law be there? The time here seemed to flow towards the distance, and there seemed to be a whirlpool that spirit's sense couldn't touch. Yemo guessed that place was the Mu Hua God Mountain. There were many cultivation homes here. Yemo saw a decent-sized marketplace. Yemo, sorry. I wasn't able to help you with anything, but don't worry. When I come out of the mountain, I will repay your god crystals, Nyo Runin said. Yemo smiled. No need. I'm already very grateful that Martial Sister Runin can bring me here. I will deal with the rest myself. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc. Please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Nyo Runin took out 100 top-grade god crystals and gave them to Yemo before saying shamefully, "I only have these crystals on me. Good luck. When you fight, if you find yourself outmatched, surrender immediately. There are no limits here if you don't admit defeat." Nyo Runin took out 100 top-grade god crystals and gave them to Yemo before saying shamefully, "I only have these crystals on me. Good luck. When you fight, if you find yourself outmatched, surrender immediately. There are no limits here if you don't admit defeat." Yemo wasn't dumb. He wasn't going to keep fighting if he clearly knew he was outmatched. That was asking to die, but Yemo didn't reject the 100 top-grade god crystals. Yemo came up to the challenge sign-up place alone and found there were many people signing up here. There were at least a few thousand people, and there were more coming. After coming here, Yemo realized that the sign-up fee was 1,000 top-grade god crystals. He couldn't even afford the sign-up fee. Yemo finally why there was such a humane management in this law of the jungle world. Clearly, it was for gathering money. One person needed 1,000 god crystals. How many would that be in total? That would be over 1,000,000 god crystals. Yemo was speechless and understood why Nyo Runin felt so ashamed. She knew the 100 god crystals she gave him wasn't even enough for the sign-up fee. Speechlessly, Yemo walked out of the sign-up line, thinking about where to get the remaining 900 god crystals. What? You see, all these challengers are higher level than you, so you're scared? A bearded immortal emperor tertiary stage was behind Yemo and laughed. Yemo said helplessly, "After coming here, I realized the sign-up fee was 1,000 god crystals. I don't have that many." "How much do you have?" the bearded man asked. "I only have 100, Yemo answered honestly. The bearded man looked at Yemo in confusion. "Dao friend, you don't seem too weak. You're at least an immortal emperor middle stage. How can you not even have 1,000 god crystals? If you're missing 10s or 100, I can help you. But you're missing so many. I'm not wealthy either. I can't help you. However, I can point you away. You could check out Muhua Market. If you have good magic artifacts, you can sell a few. Such an opportunity is rare. If you go in the mountain and don't die, you will definitely get a huge fortune." Yemo was immediately interested. He got god crystals from Nyo Runin with magic artifacts before, and he had plenty of magic artifact. Although most of them weren't high level, he could try. "Thank you for your reminder, Dao friend. I'll go try now." Yemo quickly thanked him and left for Muhua Market. There were many people at Muhua Market, but it was disordered and chaotic. One stall here, another shop there. Yemo entered a decent-looking shop and was planning to ask about the price about extreme-grade immortal artifacts, but when he saw the price list, he immediately gave up. It wrote clearly that the lowest price for extreme-grade immortal artifacts was only 100 top-grade god crystals. Extreme-grade flying immortal artifacts were 150 top-grade god crystals. Yemo didn't have a lot of extreme-grade immortal artifacts because the materials for them were rare, even in the immortal realm. Compared to that, some of the materials Yemo had never heard of were extremely pricey. Tens of thousands or even 100,000 crystals. Yemo thought about the ores he got from the Void Palace and called a worker over. "May I ask if there are jade slips with information about the materials and spirit items in the God Necropolis domain?" The worker glanced at Yemo with confusion and took out 2 jade slips for Yemo. These 2 jade slips contain information about God's spirit items and some Dao fruits. As for forgery materials, it's even more complete. Each jade slip is 1 top-grade god crystal. Yemo didn't bargain and quickly threw out 2 god crystals and left the shop with the jade slip. Yemo left the shop and found a distant place before looking at the jade slips carefully. He immediately saw the names of the ores he got and was overjoyed. Flowing light cloud stone, top-grade material for forging god artifacts. The god artifacts forged with this material got a speed advantage. The rock was dark red and had a lightly numbing sensation in the hand. This was one of the things he got from the palace. It was perfect for upgrading Zisu. Silver wing glass, top material for forging flying magic artifact. God Heart Stone, White jade stone used for nourishing spirit sense and empowering the soul. It can quickly recover you spirit sense and help improve spirit sense power. It was a rare soul material in the divine Tao realm. No wonder that when he got this stone, he felt a satisfying sensation holding it. After going through the jade slip once, Yemo found that everything he got in the palace was top-level stuff. Realizing what they were used for, Yemo put the jade slip away and moved his spirit sense onto that white jade stone. It was called God Heartstone. The use of this stone would be more precious to others than all the other materials combined. For spirit sense nourishment, he had corner soul weeds and dark weeds. After thinking about it carefully, Yemo had decided to sell this God Heartstone. Of course, he wasn't selling the entire thing. He cut off a third and found a spacious place and put up a stall. He only had one thing, and it was this 1/3 of God Heartstone. Yemo didn't know its exact price, but he guessed it was definitely over 1,000 top-grade God crystals. Yemo put a restriction on the stone and yelled, "I happen to get a God Heartstone that I want to sell it. Those who want it can bid for it." Without the need to call a second time, people flocked over immediately. There were even some half-divines, but not a single divine emperor. It really is God Heartstone? It's quite high quality. Wait, it doesn't seem to be complete. There's more than half gone. Good item, Tao friend. How much? A few desperate immortal emperors already started to bid towards Yemo. Yemo didn't know the exact price of this, and thus couldn't name a price. He saluted with his fists. I only have this God Heartstone, so while there's a lot of people here, I want to sell it for a good price. I won't name a price myself. Everyone can bid. I only sell to the highest bidder. I'll pay 10,000 top-grade God crystals. Someone immediately bid. Yemo rejoiced. He didn't expect it was priced this high. Another voice sneered. A mere 10K God crystals dares to buy this God Heartstone? If it's not that it has a part missing, I would pay 100K immediately. Even though it's missing a part, I'm willing to pay 20K. Wait, I'll bid 50K. A cold voice interrupted everyone. Yemo didn't need to look to know who this person was. It was that young mistress of the Hung God Corner. She seemed to be called Hungwan Man. I'll bid 100K. A skinny-bodied man with a black mask walked over. Yemo looked at this person and knew he was definitely half divine. He was very happy with 100K and didn't want to keep waiting. The young mistress's face sunk, and she frowned at Yemo. Yemo, you came from our Hung God Corner. If you trust me, I'm willing to pay 100K too. I don't have that much on me now. I'll pay you the remaining 50K when I go back. I can even give you a few thousand more. Neo Runin next to her also gave Yemo a pleading look. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Sorry, I don't take debts, Yemo said plainly, and then turned to the man. Pay 100K God crystals, and the God Heartstone is yours. Sorry, I don't take debts, Yemo said plainly, and then turned to the man. Pay 100K God crystals, and the God Heartstone is yours. Thank you. The man threw a storage bag to Yemo without hesitation. Yemo scanned it. There were 100K God crystals, not one less. He immediately took the God Heartstone out of the restriction and put it in a jade box, giving it to the skinny man. The young mistress's face was green. She didn't expect that Yemo dared to reject her. Yemo followed their ship here, and even if he didn't, how could a mere solo cultivator dare to reject her? Shameless person, why did our Hung God Corner even help you that much? The horse-faced man said furiously. Yemo sneered. Help? What help did your Hung God Corner help me with? Did you give me a spot into the mountain, or did you pay my challenge sign-up fee? I used your Hung God Corner's flying ship to come here, but I paid 40K God crystals. You dare to talk about help with that horse face of yours? Do you have any face? That horse-faced man was going to fight immediately, but the young mistress sneered and turned to leave. The horse face glared at Yemo and turned to leave. Nyo Runin was extremely shameful and said nothing. When the horse-faced man said that Yemo didn't pay back their help, everyone despised Yemo. Although it was the law of the jungle here, people took promises and favors seriously. When they heard Yemo's explanation, they realized what help it was. Yemo just used their ship to come here and paid 40K. 40K was enough to come from Hung God Corner here many times. If you gave 40K God crystals to any power, they would politely send you to Mu Hua God Mountain and sign up for you. Yemo immediately paid the sign-up fee. After he left, he saw that bearded man again. The man saw Yemo and immediately walked over. "Dao friend, you had a God heart stone, but it's such a waste to sell it. It's hard to find such treasure, even in the Mu Hua God Mountain." "I just want to see the Mu Hua God Mountain. I didn't think that much." Yemo smiled. Then, Yemo raised his jade card. "How come there isn't even a competition schedule and rule? There's just a jade card marked with a number." The man laughed and pulled Yemo over before saying quietly, "This competition is just for collecting God crystals. There are nearly 3,000 people signing up. There will be a few million God crystals collected. There's no law. They probably just mark a number on the jade card to see how many are sold." "What do you mean?" Yemo asked. The bearded man said, "When the mountain opens, it would be those God Corner people going in first. After they go in, the challenge starts. So this means that after the challenge finishes, those guys would have searched the mountain for a few days. Even if there were good things at the outskirts, they will be all gone. Each time the mountain opens, it would be a different location, so there are many good things at the outskirts. Even if you go in by challenge, you won't be able to get some things." Yemo was speechless. They had no bottom line. They took God crystals and then went in early themselves too. Don't be too disappointed. Even so, those who win are usually Immortal Emperor Peak Stage or Half Divine. I need to tell you that some cultivators who have reached Dao Molding Divine Emperor also come. If you see such a person, just admit defeat." The bearded man said. Seeing Yemo stop talking, the man pointed at a row of cultivation homes at the border and said, "You can use your magic artifact to set up a cultivation home there. I will be there too. 3 days later, the mountain will open. After people go in, the challenge tournament will begin." Yemo heard this and could only set up his cultivation home. Just when he stayed in his cultivation home, he knew he was being watched. At least 7 or 8 spirit senses kept scanning towards his cultivation home. Yemo was very speechless. There were no concerns here at all. These people were clearly onto him because he took out a God Heartstone. One could imagine that if he failed the challenge, he would be followed immediately. But Yemo didn't care. He was very confident in the challenge. Even if he failed, he wouldn't be afraid of them. Out of the spirit senses that scanned at him, there was only one that was near half divine. The rest were just ordinary Immortal Emperors. Immortal Emperor was the peak of the immortal realm, but here, although they weren't at the very bottom, they were just ordinary. It was easier to reach Immortal Emperor in the God Necropolis domain because of the God crystals and the laws here. God crystals were much more powerful for cultivation than immortal crystals. 3 days passed quickly. Yemo didn't bother to look what happened outside until the 3rd day. He felt the time chi form a clear flow, and thus he left the cultivation home. The bearded man next door also came out. Seeing Yemo shocked at the time flow, he laughed. "This is the sign that the mountain is about to open. You see the time whirlpool on the sand clearing up? That's the entrance to the mountain." "Thank you for your pointers, Dao friend." Yemo quickly thanked. The bearded man didn't mind and said, "This isn't a pointer. Those who came to the Mu Hua God Mountain know this. Mu Hua means when you go when you're very young, but if you accidentally encounter a time whirlpool, you'll immediately become an old man." As the two spoke, a huge formation door appeared. Yemo saw that this formation door was made using top materials but couldn't last long. Yemo immediately frowned. Even if he successfully challenged, he would need to go in 3 days later. Could this formation door last 3 days? Those from the God Corners and Castles already released their flying magic artifacts and went along the sand into the whirlpool. Yemo counted. There weren't a lot of people going in, only 200 or 300. He couldn't see through the cultivation level of the strongest. They were definitely divine emperors. As flying magic artifacts went inside, the huge formation door dimmed down. A man whose power level Yemo couldn't see came out into the middle and waved out 10 huge stages. There were powerful restrictions circulating the stage. Now, those who want to challenge, please enter the stage. The time is a day. When the incense burns out, those who are still on the stage have the right to enter the mountain. Those struck off cannot go up again, otherwise death. Before the man finished, people erupted. Isn't it supposed to be 3 days? There aren't 20 spots? How did it become 10? No matter what people said, the man didn't care and released a long incense stick that was lit up. There were no rules, and anyone could challenge. They could even gang up on people. Clearly, those who went up first would be disadvantaged. The bearded man next to Yi Mo sighed. It seems I have no hope. Looking at this, no matter how strong you are, you'll be brought down in the end. The man didn't say anything after waving out the stages. Even if no one went on the stage, he still sat there calmly. The man didn't say anything after waving out the stages. Even if no one went on the stage, he still sat there calmly. 5 minutes passed quickly. One blue-faced immortal emperor tertiary stage couldn't resist flying to the stage and placed his challenge jade card into the ring. When he landed there, no one challenged him, but more immortal emperors flew up. In the blink of an eye, 9 out of the 10 stages had someone on there. Before the 10th person could go up, an extremely white-skinned woman charged towards the 6th stage. There was a handsome-looking man on the 6th stage. He had a metal fan. The woman charged up and said nothing. She released a huge pair of scissors. It instantly turned into a huge scissor shadow and sliced towards that handsome man. Even though the stage was covered by restrictions, people outside could still feel the powerful and lethal force of the scissors. One could imagine that without the restrictions of the stage, the pair of scissors would destroy the nearby space. This scissor's shadow's remaining power struck the border of the restriction, creating ripples. When people didn't fight, no one came up. When people fought, it was this intense. Everyone knew that the woman probably didn't come for the spot. She came to kill this handsome man. The handsome man saw this and yelled in fury, "Bahwiping, are you crazy?" The woman said nothing and just attacked more and more crazily. There was even red mist appearing on her body. Clearly, she was burning her essence blood. Seeing this, the man released his metal fan that turned into a heaven-covering black cloud, stopping the woman's scissor shadow. Sword rays flew out of the black cloud, tearing Bao Huiping's domain to pieces and even some of her clothing. Bao Huiping didn't care and attacked more crazily. The blood mist surrounding her grew thicker. She was almost naked, but she didn't care and kept attacking the man like crazy. One could see how furious she was. Rumble. The scissors clashed with the metal fan as the scissors' shadow dispersed. Bao Huiping was struck flying out. Her huge scissors smashed against her. She didn't even have the power to take her magic artifact away and just kept panting. The handsome man was covered in wounds. There were multiple holes in his fan. He didn't look as mannered as before. He walked towards Bao Huiping hideously and was about to strike with his metal fan. The audience saw this and sighed. Bao Huiping's battle will was stronger, but the difference in power between them was too huge. Just when the man was about to kill Bao Huiping, the scissors suddenly exploded. Countless shadows struck out, and in less than 1/10 of a second, they completely surrounded the man. The man reacted quickly and took back the fan, wanting to block the explosions, but even so, countless blood holes appeared on his body. Bao Huiping suddenly jumped up and struck out thousands of sword ray shadows. These sword ray shadows formed a huge thick net that struck the wounded man head-on. Splurge bloodlight flashed, and in this short time, the handsome man was split into tens of pieces of meat. A terrified essence spirit seeped out. Bao Huiping released a flame and burned the essence spirit to nothing. At this moment, she finally eased up and put on some clothes. She picked up the storage ring and fan and jumped off the stage, disappearing into the crowd. Seeing this bloody scene, the rest of the people were a bit dazed. Although all means could be used, rarely did they see such a gruesome battle. No one would burn essence blood and god essence to go in, because without top-level medicine, they couldn't be recovered. After the bloody battle, more people fought on the stage. People were starting to get killed. At the start, people fought one-on-one, but later on, there were battle royales. The powerful being sat on the side and closed his eyes as though nothing mattered as long as you put your jade card in. An immortal emperor who was smashed down from the stage was extremely furious and wanted to go back again. However, a huge palm reached over and crushed that immortal emperor to powder. This immediately woke up the nearby people. There was at least one rule here, and that was everyone could only come up once. Gradually, the battle royale reduced, but Yemo was in no rush. The incense had only burned less than halfway. He would only go up when it was almost out. Clearly, quite a lot of people thought like Yemo. As the match went on, stronger and stronger people went up. An axe-wielding immortal emperor peaked stage, and a long-haired woman made Yemo keep an eye out. He found these two beat their opponents in a few moves and didn't need to use much god essence. The blue-faced immortal emperor, who went up first, was still standing there. Yemo also noticed a few half-divines who were planning to go on at the last moment. At this moment, a purple-robed man charged up onto the 5th stage. Seeing this, Yemo immediately became excited. If he wasn't experienced, he would charge up. Luckily, he stopped himself. He would have to wait till the battle was over before he went up. Otherwise, he might be fighting a 1 versus 2. That purple-robed figure was the man he had chased from the immortal realm until here. The man that might have the 5th stone stool. Seeing this man, Yemo made up his mind. If the man won, he would go to the stage and challenge him. If the man lost, he would give up the challenge and hunt this man. He wasn't going to rest until he got the 5th stone stool. The purple-robed man probably didn't expect Yemo to come here. No one dared to scan their spirit sense around here. There were countless powerful beings, and those with strange tempers could kill you for any reason. On the 5th stage, the purple-robed man fought a gray-robed immortal emperor. The gray-robed immortal emperor had won 8 fights in a row, with one of them being 2 people ganging up on him. He killed 5 people and showed no mercy. His magic artifact was a blue lighting pike. It had an lightning effect. Ordinary immortal emperors couldn't stop it at all. Yemo understood this way of competing. They would go on first and show their means to scare off people from challenging them. Seeing the purple-robed man come up, the gray-robed immortal emperor snarled. He killed 5 people quickly to scare people, and yet this insolent purple-robed man still dared to challenge him. He would kill the purple-robed guy quickly in case people came to challenge him again. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 1998. Adamantium Great Vehicle Painting. Chapter 1998. Adamantium Great Vehicle Painting. When the purple-robed man just came up, the blue lightning pike was already released. Previously, his opponent used fist-sized lightning balls, but this time, there were heaven-covering lightning needles. Each one was a few inches long, and in the middle of the needle was a lightning ball that was larger than a fist. When these lightning needles and lightning balls fused together, the audience realized that they formed an 8-trigram formation. Yemo didn't watch the gray-robed immortal emperor. He wasn't scared of lightning element attacks. He watched the purple-robed man. He probably would fight the man, so he would need to know his means. Although Yemo didn't care about the lightning formation, the purple-robed man didn't have Yemo's capability of devouring lightning. Before the lightning formation formed, he released a huge drum. Yemo had Hal Heaven Drum and had only used it once. When he was weak, he didn't dare to use it. When he was strong, he didn't need to use it. Yemo wondered which drum was stronger. With a dong, sound blades struck out from the drum. Even with the restrictions, some of the audience were affected. Those who were weak-powered moved back. After this initial sound, the remaining sound echoed non-stop, with each wave stronger than the previous wave. The gray-robed immortal emperor's lightning formation slowed, and the lightning needles and balls seemed to have been stopped by the sound waves. The gray-robed immortal emperor's face sunk. He could tell this purple-robed man wasn't so easy to deal with. If it wasn't that his foundation was unstable, he might not be a match for him. In that instant, The gray-robed immortal emperor used countless hand signs. The nearby domain space ripple could be seen with eyes. The drum sound only stopped the lightning formation for a brief moment, and then it swept at the purple-robed man again. The purple-robed man was very calm, as though knowing this would happen. He activated the drum again. Dong, dong, dong. One sound was already enough to stop the formation. These three sounds was each louder than the one before. The formation surrounding the purple-robed man paused and was about to cripple. The gray-robed immortal emperor's face changed. He didn't expect the drum sound was this terrifying. Only he knew how terrifying the drum sounds were. Each sound would cripple his domain a bit, while the purple-robed man's domain was a bit stronger. Most importantly, the drum sound seemed like a huge hammer that struck the bottom of his heart, making him feel helpless. It was as though he couldn't even use his god essence and could only wait to be torn apart. The three sounds echoed again, forming attacks like tidal waves. The gray-robed immortal emperor couldn't hold it anymore. He spat out a yellow mist that immediately smashed on his lightning formation. Immediately, the lightning needles and balls exploded. Huge explosion sounds came that instantly covered the sound waves. Tens of thousands of these needles were activated and exploded, tearing apart the purple-robed man's immortal emperor domain. The purple-robed man's face changed, and he struck the drum even more. Dong, 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 6 consecutive strikes, and the sound blades instantly blocked most of the lightning needles, but a small part still pierced the purple-robed man. The purple-robed man's heart sunk. He didn't expect this immortal emperor had such means. That yellow mist could activate the lightning formation attacks and make them tens of times stronger. The reason he came up was not just for the Mu Hua God Mountain, but for the blue lightning pike. Its origin wasn't ordinary. That's why he came up early. If he got the magic artifact, he would have reached his goal. If no one strong challenged him, he would stay on. If powerful people came, he would get off immediately. He had watched this immortal emperor for a few matches and knew his god art. He didn't expect the immortal emperor to have such a powerful god art up his sleeves. He received some injuries and couldn't hold back anymore. He struck the soul-robbing god illusion drum crazily. Asterisk dong dong dong. Phone phone phone. Asterisk the sounds changed to a ghastly sound. Before it was murderous, but now it was ghastly, as though countless ghosts were passing by. Even the surrounding environment seemed ghastly. The gray-robed immortal emperor was calmer than the purple-robed man now. Countless yellow mists sprayed out. The lightning formation that had dimmed down due to the sound blade attacks were circulating with lightning again. In the rolling thunder, waves of exploding lightning arcs and lightning needles shot out. The Inchi drum sounds clashed with the needles non-stop and made all sorts of explosions. The fighting sound was gradually covered by the Inchi. Ordinary people's spirit sense could no longer scan in. Yemo forcefully used his spirit sense blades to scan in and was very shocked. The purple-robed man was strong, but that gray-robed immortal emperor was equally as strong. Yemo could tell that none of them used their trump card yet, but the battle was already of this scale. If they used all their trump cards, even he would need some means to kill them. If this continued, it would probably be the gray-robed immortal emperor to win. This was beyond Yemo's expectations. If the gray-robed immortal emperor killed the purple-robed man, he would go up first and steal the storage ring. Just when Yemo thought of this, the purple-orbed man patted his waist, and a white, scary, huge skeleton wolf charged out. Yemo's spirit sense scanned this wolf. Its chi was at least level 9 immortal spirit beast. Yemo had spirit sense, so he could see the skeleton wolf immediately, but those who didn't have spirit sense cultivation method couldn't see the skeleton wolf. They could only see from the rattling restriction that the battle was very intense. As soon as the wolf came out, it opened its white mouth and bit towards the dense cluster of lightning needles and balls. It actually looked a little like Shadowless. Because the wolf swept the nearby lightning needles, the gray-robed immortal emperor's domain opened up. Dong, 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 6 drum sounds came, and due to the wolf devouring the needles, There was a hole in the gray-robed immortal emperor's domain, and thus the sounds charged at the immortal emperor through this hole. The gray-robed immortal emperor was struck by the drum sound and spat a few mouthfuls of blood before flying out. Just when Yemo thought the gray-robed immortal emperor couldn't do anything, he released another magic artifact. Yemo watched this gray-robed immortal emperor intently. As soon as he released the magic artifact, Yemo saw it clearly. It was a painting. There seemed to be some monks. As soon as the painting was released, the battle scene cleared up. Yemo heard the nearby voices call out in shock. Adamantium, great vehicle painting. There were some Buddhist sounds coming from the painting that blew away the yin qi at the same time. Yellow-robed monks flew out from the painting and released their magic artifacts, surrounding the purple-robed man and his skeletal wolf. Rumble, a monk, smashed a metal staff on the wolf, and the wolf howled in pain, wanting to flee. Before it could run far, another monk appeared before it and smashed down. The wolf howled again and bit that huge metal staff. The monk twisted his staff, and the wolf's teeth fell. The purple-robed man was dazed by this painting, but he immediately realized he was no match for the gray-robed immortal emperor. Before he could leave, two monks smashed down their staffs at his head. Yemo's heart sunk. He immediately knew that the purple-robed man actually lost. Yemo scanned his spirit sense at that gray-robed immortal emperor. He was shaking. He definitely couldn't control the painting. Even if he won, he would leave the stage. Seeing the nearby people seemingly wanting to go on, Yemo didn't hesitate and flew up immediately while putting his jade card in. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 1999. Fleeing into Muhua God Mountain. Chapter 1999. Fleeing into Muhua God Mountain. As soon as Yemo came onto the stage, the purple-robed man had the lower hand. If it wasn't that the gray-robed immortal emperor had trouble controlling the painting, he would only have to attack with the pike again, and the purple-robed man wouldn't be able to escape. But even so, the purple-robed man withered under the two metal staffs of the monks. The gray-robed immortal emperor was still holding on, but there was bloody mist around him. Clearly, he couldn't last long. Seeing Yemo come up, the gray-robed immortal emperor suddenly woke up. This was the battle stage, and one without rules. If he paid an extremely heavy price, then even if he won, he wouldn't be able to stop this man. Realizing this, the gray-robed immortal emperor was immediately going to take back the painting. Meanwhile, the heavily injured purple-robed man used the opportunity of the monk disappearing to suddenly go up and grab the painting. The next moment, he immediately took the painting and turned to leave. He didn't even want to take his main target, the blue lightning pike. How could Yemo let this man leave the stage? He immediately expanded his domain and hacked out with Zisu's crevice god art. "It's you." The purple-robed man immediately recognized Yemo and tried to escape the stage with his life. Clearly, he knew he was no match for Yemo, but he was already at his wit's end. When Yemo activated his domain with full power, how could he escape? Yemo collected the lethal force around the stage and formed a murderous lethal force, locking onto the purple-robed man tightly. Rumble, the crevice smashed onto the purple-robed man's drum, creating a heavy thud. You want to rob the 5-element. Before the purple-robed man could finish, Yemo's crevice turned around to cut the purple-robed man in half. At the same time, he stacked his spirit sense domain on top, completely suppressing his sound. In his worry, the purple-robed man wanted to expose Yemo's purpose and retreat. At this moment, the gray-robed immortal emperor recovered and smashed his blue lightning pike out without hesitation. The purple-robed man could no longer block this and made a hideous cry before being sliced to pieces. When his essence spirit came out, it was still caught by the lightning net of the blue lightning pike. A blue light flashed. Yemo, who had been watching, caught it. There had only been a few seconds between Yemo coming onto the stage and the purple-robed man being killed. When the purple-robed man was killed and Yemo grabbed the blue light, Most people realized and charged onto the stage like EMO. There were no rules, and there was the adamantium great vehicle painting. Who would want to fall behind? The gray-robed immortal emperor was too exhausted. EMO was much more powerful than him. When EMO killed the purple-robed man, he already grabbed a blue light from the purple-robed man's essence spirit and took the storage ring. Leave my adamantium great vehicle painting. The gray-robed immortal emperor knew he was no match for EMO, but when his painting was taken, he went crazy. EMO was planning to leave the stage now that 3 more people came up. When the gray-robed immortal emperor attacked him, he saw the Tao Vindication powerful being who set up the stage, show killing intent. EMO didn't dare to stay here. The divine emperor's target wasn't the painting, but the blue bead he took. EMO knew that no matter how powerful the painting was, it wasn't as valuable as the blue bead. EMO didn't dare to keep challenging on a stage where there was a divine emperor lurking. He immediately brushed past the immortal emperors and used an instant transmission. A giant hand grabbed at EMO, but it was only an afterimage of EMO. How dare you, rat? The divine emperor saw that he missed EMO and was furious as he chased over the space ripple. EMO guessed right. This divine emperor not only wanted the painting, but also the blue bead. When he saw the painting, he already messaged people to get the painting for him, but when the blue bead appeared, he couldn't handle it anymore. He knew the value of the blue bead all too much. It might be a 5-element world that was higher level than a truth spirit world. Plus, the purple-robed man spat the words 5-element. Although he was a divine emperor, he didn't even have a truth spirit world, much less a 5-element world. That's why he suddenly attacked. EMO decisively used instant transmission when he guessed the divine emperor's thoughts. If he was 1 second slower, he would have been caught. Can you escape? The divine emperor snarled and chased in EMO's direction. EMO was extremely experienced in running. How could he not know he couldn't escape a divine emperor's hunt? If it wasn't that the 5-element duel was too important, he would rather not rob the thing and leave. So when the divine emperor chased over, he chose the direction of the formation door. The dim door was still open. EMO immediately charged in without hesitation and disappeared. The divine emperor came here and saw that EMO dared to use this opportunity to get inside the Mu Hua God Mountain. He was even more furious now and charged in too without hesitation. Even if he chased to the ends of the world, he would catch EMO and rob his items. See EMO and that divine emperor powerful being both enter the Mu Hua God Mountain. The rest of the people all charged in. The door was already dim. After a few more people went in, its color immediately faded and soon there was a crack. The formation door collapsed and the tunnel inside was completely shut. Since they couldn't go in anymore, the tournament was pointless. Those who paid God crystals rushed towards the sign-up place. Moments later, a huge battle erupted. Countless magic artifacts and essence chi flows stirred. In the countless years, this was the first time something like this happened at the opening of the Mu Hua God Mountain. When another divine emperor came to hold the scene, the sign-up place was already beaten down, and those who attacked all left. When EMO entered the door, he felt time flow like water past his body. He felt he went from birth to maturity and then old age. EMO was shocked. Luckily, just when he was still worried, he landed. EMO knew he was in the mountain. His spirit sense scanned out and found he could only scan a radius of 1,000 kilometers. He didn't dare to stay here. As soon as he landed, EMO instant transmission again. Doing that here was carrying his head in his hands. The space here wasn't stable, and there was time chi everywhere. If he instant transmissioned into a time whirlpool, it would almost be certain death. EMO had no choice. He knew that Divine Emperor would chase over. EMO had no choice, but of course he could rely on the Golden Page world. If there was a time whirlpool, he would go in immediately. After a few more instant transmissions, EMO used the 5-element mobility technique and kept changing direction. 2 hours later, EMO used Earth mobility under an ancient tree. At an extreme depth, EMO set up a stealth restriction and entered the Golden Page world. Unless a Divine Emperor specifically checked where he was, it would be impossible to find his Golden Page world. A few seconds after entering the Golden Page world, the Divine Emperor stopped at where Yemo last instant transmissioned. Yemo didn't know this, or else he definitely wouldn't dare to stay under the tree. He thought with all the time chi ravaging here, the space ripples he created would be extremely faint. Even Divine Emperors might not be able to find it after a while. However, this Divine Emperor did. The 5-element mobility technique created even smaller space ripples than instant transmission that would disappear in just a few seconds. The Divine Emperor stood for a long time. He even searched the ground carefully, but found no sign of Yemo. I don't believe you can get away. The Divine Emperor searched and chose a direction to keep chasing. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2000. Spirit Controlling the Blue Bead World. Chapter 2000. Spirit Controlling the Blue Bead World. 15 minutes later, the Divine Emperor who chased Yemo sunk his face. He completely lost Yemo's tracks, but he soon said, 3 months later, when the Muhua God Mountain closes, I don't believe you won't come out. Yemo immediately checked his lifespan and meridians in the Golden Page world. When he went into the mountain, he felt as though his life was flowing away. After checking multiple times, Yemo was certain that his body wasn't damaged and he didn't lose any life. It seemed that tunnel didn't really harm the life of those who went inside. With this, Yemo immediately started to check the storage ring of the purple-robed man. Other than that huge drum, there were some god crystals and immortal crystals. There were also some ordinary immortal pill and immortal spirit herbs. Yemo didn't see anything he needed in the storage ring. He didn't even see the adamantium great vehicle painting. Yemo breathed easy. It seemed his guess was right. That blue bead was a decent level world. Since the painting wasn't in the storage ring, it was definitely in the blue bead. This purple-robed man's blue bead was countless times higher leveled than Qing Ru's blue bead. He threw the storage ring to the side and set up the time formation disc to start spirit controlling the blue bead. There were many Dao fruits and time whirlpools in the Mu Hua God Mountain. If you were lucky, you could learn time law near there. Those Dao fruits could quite possibly help you break through or comprehend a god art. If it wasn't for the purple-robed man's blue bead, Yemo would have charged out to search for these things already. To Yemo right now, the most important thing was to spirit control the blue bead and find the 5th stone stool to complete his Golden Page world. If his Golden Page world was complete, then he would have hope in Dao vindication. The time formation disc spun rapidly. A few years later, Yemo had completely immersed in the process of spirit controlling the blue bead world. 10,000 km from Yemo's ancient tree, a small hill surrounded by lightning light had more than 10 people. More people were still coming over. There was nothing on the hill but a 3-meter-tall gray tree. It had no leaves or branches. Instead of a tree, it looked more like a wooden stick. There were 9 blue fruits on it that were surrounded by lightning. If you put spirit sense on these fruits, you would feel the endless ages of time. The surrounding people looked at these 9 fruits greedily, as though ready to go up and rob them. 2 more immortal emperors came to this peak, and a red-robed man called out in shock, "Lightning sound ages fruit." As soon as he said this, he charged up as quickly as possible. The lightning sound ages fruit isn't mature yet. You can't go up before his friend finished. This man already charged up. This red-robed man didn't think much when his greed acted out. By the time he got to the middle of the hill, he realized things weren't right. He found that no one charged up with him. Those people didn't even stop him. Not good. The red-robed man instantly reacted, but before he could turn around, he felt the endless ages press against him. He felt it was difficult to even breathe. At this moment, all he could feel was his life flowing away. The people outside saw this red-robed man slowly age. His hair turned white and his face withered. He turned very slowly, as though it took him tens of thousands of years to turn. By the time he completely turned, he He was aged till he was only a skeleton. He looked at the people outside and slowly fell. When he fell, he still had bones. When he landed, his hair and skin completely dissipated. In less than 5 minutes, an immortal Emperor middle stage died like this and couldn't even take a step before he died. The hill was still that hill, but those people standing outside had less greed in their eyes and more caution. However, no one chose to leave and waited for the lightning sound age's fruits to mature. For more dashing lights came, 2 men and 2 women. If EMO was here, he could recognize at least 3 of them. There was the young mistress of Hung God Corner Hung Wan Man, Nyo Runin, and the horse face. Young mistress, this is the lightning sound age's fruit, an old man called out in shock. He was the strongest of the 4, and someone EMO had never seen. It really is lightning sound age's fruit. The young mistress gasped. Nyo Runin clearly knew less and asked, Elder Nyen, young mistress, what is lightning sound age's fruit? Elder Nyen said, lightning sound age's fruit is a Tao fruit that can help one learn time law. If you get one, you can use it to learn time law God art. It's priceless. It can grow under a 5-element environment or mutated environment. This lightning sound age's fruit is growing in lightning element chi. If you use this age's fruit to learn time law, you can have a sliver of lightning in your God art in time law. It's extremely precious. Nyo Runin took in a cold breath. She had been in the God Necropolis domain. How could she not know the terror of the time law? There weren't many who learned time laws in the God Necropolis domain, much less those who were experts in it. Such a Tao fruit that could help people learn time law was insanely absurd. Just as they were speaking, a few people suddenly left. Elder Nyen, since there are lightning sound age's fruits, why don't these people fight for it? Why are there people leaving? Is there danger on this mountain? Nyo Runin asked. Elder Nyen nodded. That's right, if you charge up to a age's fruit before it's mature, then it's suicide. It's completely surrounded by time whirlpools. They will disappear when the fruit matures. If you go up before the fruit is mature, it's suicide unless you're a powerful being that has complete mastery over time law. However, those powerful beings are at least primordial essence divine emperor. They wouldn't come here. Those who left know this. So they left here to find other treasures and come back in a few days, or they want to contact their friends so they can fight for one. There's at least half a year before the fruit matures by the looks of things. So that's it. Nyo Runin looked at the age's fruit and knew this was something that she could never get. Young mistress, why don't we go look for other things too? Staying here for half a year is a waste, Nyo Runin said. The young mistress's face was full of uncertainty and trouble. Elder Nyen, I suggest we wait here. It seems that it's going to take half a year to mature, but look at the top of the blue fruit. There's a yellow mark. It might actually mature in 3 to 5 days, the young mistress sound transmissioned. Elder Nyen nodded to young mistress with approval. You're right. You don't need half a year for these fruits. I only saw those yellow marks later. It seems it's not just us who saw this. Those who didn't leave probably all saw it. The young mistress smiled and said nothing. She just sound transmission to Nyo Runin and Horseface. When the lightning sound age's fruit matures, Elder Nyen and I will go up to take it. Runin and Martial Brother Wenyen, get ready to help us at the outskirts. We'll leave as soon as we get the fruit. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Chapter 2001. Open Up Chaos World. Chapter 2001. Open Up Chaos World Crack. The thin membrane on the blue bead cracked under Yi Mo's spirit control, and everything in the blue bead cleared up to Yi Mo. The endless green lush world almost made Yi Mo exclaim. He had been running his golden page world for many years, but compared to this world, it was like a small hay house. This wasn't a matter of high level or low level. In terms of level, Yi Mo was certain that his golden page world was countless times higher than this blue bead world, but the purple-robed man has been operating the blue bead world to better completion. Rivers appeared in Yi Mo's spirit sense. There were some immortal spirit beasts running around on mountain peaks. There were plenty of level 9 immortal spirit herbs in the immortal spirit herb gardens, and even more below level 9. Immortal crystals and immortal ranges came in piles and piles. Top-level magic artifact stacked up in mountains. There was this huge flag that gave Yemo a familiar feeling. Yemo immediately came to this flag. It was a flag that didn't have a pole, but emitted a powerful, ferocious chi. Yemo's spirit sense fell on this huge flag, and soon knew where it came from. The gray-robed Immortal Emperor's blue lightning pike had the exact same chi as this flag. At this moment, Yemo finally realized why the purple-robed man was going to fight the gray-robed Immortal Emperor. The flag and the pike were definitely a set. Once combined, it would be a top god artifact. That purple-robed Immortal Emperor thought that he could definitely beat the gray-robed Immortal Emperor after watching a few battles, but he didn't expect that the gray-robed Immortal Emperor was far stronger than he had thought. He had dominated the Immortal Realm, but now died to a fighting stage in the god Necropolis domain. As Emo moved his eyes away from the flag, he saw an ordinary stool. The moment he saw the stone stool, Yemo's heart started beating rapidly because he had searched for this fifth stone all too long. Now that it was right before his eyes, he almost couldn't believe it. In this boundless universe, how hard would it be to find this stone stool? But he got the stone stool and gathered all 5. One needed great fortune and luck for this. Yemo looked at the stone stool and saw the word water. There was also some small worlds, 5 element united, world complete. Yemo breathed easy. He realized what the purple-robed man wanted. His blue bead world was going beyond truth spirit world. If he found the 5 element stone stools, his blue bead world would go a level higher. He could use it to vindicate Tao and enter divine Emperor's Sate. But now that Yemo gathered the 5 stone stools, of course he wasn't going to use it to perfect the blue bead world. Yemo immediately grabbed the stone stool out of the blue bead world and came into his golden page world. As soon as he came here, the entire golden page world rumbled. Before Yemo realized what was going on, his water element stone stool flew out. The other 4 stone stools suddenly flew out too. They spiraled in the golden page world and sped up into a blur. Soon, even Spirit Sense couldn't see them clearly. The golden page world was rumbling louder and louder as lightning even exploded. Shadowless and small ginseng were scared and hid under the bitter bamboo, not daring to move. Yemo wanted to check what was going on in the golden page world and felt his essence spirit hum. At this instant, his essence spirit seemed to about to leave his body and fuse with the golden page world. The rumbling continued, and Yemo's consciousness gradually separated from his body. Before Yemo could do anything, an extremely clear world appeared in his consciousness. This world seemed to be a blank sheet that needed him to complete. Yemo subconsciously imagined the world he wanted. He imagined a river, and an endless river appeared in this world. At this moment, Yemo realized what was going on. In his spirit sense and will, mountains, forests, lakes, rivers, seas, and snow peaks erupted into existence. As his consciousness expanded out, the universe, stars, moons gradually formed around the golden page world. Pieces of Tao laws sprung into existence. The universe chi, law chi filled the space. There was lightning, rain, ice and snow. There was night and day. There was the 4 seasons, ice, wind, lightning, and light. All these formed with Yemo's will, and there was no pause. Those law power and the law of the heavens gave Yemo more understanding. Yemo expanded his consciousness out, wanting to expand his world larger, but when his spirit sense touched that obscure chaos at the border of his golden page world, his spirit sense felt a wave of pain. The next moment, he couldn't hold on anymore and fell unconscious on the ground. Small Ginseng and Shadowless, who had seen the entire process of the golden page world form, were completely dazed. They clearly saw the golden page world go from a grayish dull world into a world full of essence chi, with a red sun hanging in the east. Rivers flowed everywhere. Fishes sprung out of the waves as though rejoicing for becoming alive. Boss opened up primordial world. Shadowless took in a cold breath and murmured were primordial spirits. Small ginseng reacted and still reminisced the process of this world forming. He knew that after witnessing this chaos world forming, they were not only primordial spirits, but could also have a world creation god art. But soon he thought of EMO and said, "Shadowless. Boss seems to be unconscious. His body doesn't seem to be right." Shadowless realized and quickly came up to EMO with small ginseng. Yemo's face was dimming, his skin was withering. Even his life force was dissipating. Small ginseng, what's going on? Shadowless asked desperately. He had always been following EMO, and now that something happened to EMO, he was really worried. Small ginseng frowned and said after a long while, "I remembered a legend of our universe's beginning. There was a powerful being called Pangu. After he opened up the universe, he died. Boss seemed to have done the same thing, opening a chaos world. Boss's power seems much weaker than that Pangu. The world he opened isn't even complete. What do we do?" Small ginseng, think of a way. "I'm so worried. What if something happens to Boss? What do we do?" Shadowless spun around, but couldn't think of a way. If it's acting cool and cursing at people, he would have all sorts of ideas, but for this situation there was nothing he could do. Small ginseng immediately said, "We have to hurry and save Boss. Once his life force completely disappears, even the best Tao fruit can't save him." "What?" Shadowless asked. Small ginseng answered, "Do you feel that the world law suddenly became complete? Not only that, the universe law is starting to become complete. If I'm not wrong, Boss isn't strong enough, and therefore he has to fuse with the heaven laws to make it more complete." Then, small ginseng sliced open his arm and dripped a milky, white liquid on Yemo, but Yemo's life force was still slowly dissipating. It slowed down a lot, but it didn't stop. Small ginseng, "This doesn't seem to work," Shadowless said. Small ginseng's face was pale and stopped his wound indeed, but I thought of something that can definitely save Boss. "What is it?" Shadowless asked desperately. "Chaos Tree. It's also called Tree of Life and World Tree. There's only one of this in the universe, and Boss happens to have found it. It's in here too, and it's almost 3 meters tall." Small ginseng then lifted up Yemo's arm and said to Shadowless, "Hurry up and help me lift Boss to below the Chaos Tree. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible." Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2002, Ages Fruit Ripe. Chapter 2002, Ages Fruit Ripe. EMO was just lifted under the Chaos Tree, and the tree spurred out a soft golden light that completely covered Yemo. Feeling Yemo's life force recover, Small ginseng quickly pulled Shadowless. "Boss should be fine. Let's move aside and wait till he wakes up." Shadowless could tell that Yemo was probably fine now, and quickly moved aside with Small ginseng while watching the Chaos Tree. The Chaos Tree illuminated a golden light that covered Yemo and released endless life chi. Even Small ginseng and Shadowless could feel this life chi clearly, and then they saw Yemo's body starting to float. The Chaos Tree's life chi kept rushing into Yemo's body. Yemo's withered body became filled with life chi, and in a short time, Yemo recovered to what he was before, but the Chaos Tree was getting more withered. 15 minutes later, Yemo opened his eyes and saw that he was floating around the Chaos Tree. The Chaos Tree's life force nourished his essence, spirit, and meridians. However, the Chaos Tree was only 2 meters tall now. Yemo quickly stopped the Chaos Tree from nourishing him and got up. Feeling Yemo recover, the Chaos Tree emitted a joyful chi and then devoured the nearby immortal spirit chi like crazy. Yemo took out a pile of God crystals and said to Small ginseng, "Small ginseng, quickly use the God crystals to nourish the Chaos Tree. I need to learn the world laws." Small ginseng ran over joyfully. Before Yemo gave him God crystals to play with, but it was just a few, not a large pile like this. Shadowless expanded his golden wings and flapped. "Boss, you almost died just then. Is the world tree this powerful?" Yemo didn't have the time to watch the world. He opened up. He felt a lot of world laws when he opened the world. These laws don't belong to him. It belonged to the chaos world, but he felt it once. He desperately wanted to know if he could learn these laws and use it to perfect his god art. He immediately sat under the bitter bamboo. Yemo started to learn the laws he felt before, but a few days later, Yemo could only obscurely feel those laws. He couldn't grasp anything. It was as though those laws were close to him, but when he reached out to grab it, they became very far. The only benefit Yemo got was a deeper understanding of space laws. He already knew a bit of space law. His instant transmission came from space law, and because he experienced the golden page world forming, he understood instant transmission better. If he used instant transmission again, it would cause smaller space ripples. As his mastery of space law increased, he would cause less and less space ripples until it eventually disappeared. Yemo stopped learning. No matter if he could get anything at the Mu Hua God Mountain this time, he benefited quite a lot from this. Perfecting the Golden Page world was more important to Yemo than anything else. Yemo got up and then checked his newly formed Golden Page world. He could feel the complete connection with it. He didn't even need to scan with spirit sense and could know every movement in the world. At this moment, Yemo knew that his Golden Page world truly fused into one with him. Unless he died, no one could take the Golden Page world from him. Mountain ranges were interconnected. Green waters reflected the mountains. A red sun hung high in the east, forming a beautiful landscape. The only thing missing were birds and immortal spirit beasts. Yemo was very satisfied with his world. This world was countless times more perfected than the blue bead world. The sun and stars in the blue bead world were formed by formations, but everything in his Golden Page world was formed by the 5 elements. His world was far from the outside universe. This wasn't that his Golden Page world was at a lower level, but because his cultivation level was too low. He couldn't control that vast universe void. Once his cultivation level increased, his world would expand out infinitely. Yemo flew up, the chaos world was his. He could subtly feel that this world was the same as an ordinary realm. If one had enough power, he could tear the Golden Page world and head towards the outside world. Yemo knew this was extremely hard. The Golden Page world had all 5 elements, and the world laws were becoming completed. Even the incomplete Golden Page world was very hard to tear open unless that person was almighty, but how could Yemo let such a person stay in his Golden Page world? He could leave now, but he didn't choose to keep cultivating. Although he gave some god crystals to small ginseng, he still had tens of thousands of god crystals left. However, he was in the Mu Hua God Mountain now. He can't miss this opportunity. Since he came, he would give this place a good search. The mountain was this big. There was no way that Divine Emperor would be this lucky to encounter him again. At this moment on the Lightning Sound Age's Fruit Hill, the lightning was starting to disappear. The blue color on the fruit was gradually replaced by yellow. The chi of time gradually seeped out from the fruit. Everyone outside the hill held their breath. There was more than 20 people here, and most of them knew the fruit was about to mature. The young mistress of the Hung Golf Corner suppressed her excitement, and sound transmission, the Lightning Sound Age's fruit, is about to be mature. I have lightning mobility technique. As soon as it matures, I'll be the first to charge up, and Elder Nyen help me on the way. Runin and Martial Brother Wenyen hold still. When Elder Nyen receives the Lightning Sound Age's fruit from me, he will throw it to Runin and Martial Brother Wenyen. After you two get it, immediately dash away. Elder Nyen and I will help you cut the chase. When we're safe again, we'll contact each other. Okay. Nyo Runin and Martial Brother Wenyen immediately nodded. After 5 minutes, the last flicker of lightning disappeared. More than 20 dashing lights went over as quickly as possible. The young mistress was the third to reach the top. She grabbed 2 Lightning Sound Age's fruit. At the same time, she instantly left the Lightning Sound Age's fruit tree. She put the fruits in 2 jade boxes and threw it to Elder Nyen while she took out her magic artifact and stopped the 2 Immortal Emperor trying to rob it. When Elder Nyen caught it, he gave one each to Nyo Runin and Horseface. At the same time, He released his magic artifact to stop others from chasing the jade box. At this moment, everyone charged up onto the tree, and no one cared about Runin and Horseface who were outside the hill. As soon as they received the jade boxes, they instantly split off. This process happened perfectly without any pause. Many people saw this and started to regret why they didn't think of such a way. Soon, the people here reacted and started to fight over the other lightning sound age's fruit. This hill was ravaged by essence chi and killing chi. No one cared about young mistress and elder Nyan, who didn't have the lightning sound age's fruit anymore. They didn't join the battle and instead quietly left. After the 9 fruits were picked, the tree immediately withered and turned to dust. But not everyone gave up on hunting Runin and Horseface. There were at least 2 immortal emperors chasing behind Runin. Although Runin left first, her cultivation level was too low. It was barely immortal emperor middle stage, and she didn't even stabilize her power. Seeing the 2 immortal emperors nearing, she was very desperate. She couldn't shake them off no matter what. Runin knew that if they caught up to her, not only would she lose the fruit, but she would also lose her life. She quickly sent a message to the young mistress. But she wasn't able to get very far before a dashing light stopped her path. Do you think a mere immortal emperor middle stage can escape from us brothers? Keep dreaming. It was an immortal emperor peak stage who stopped her. His god spirit chi emanated around his body. At this moment, the immortal emperor tertiary stage came behind her. There was despair in Runin's heart. She could only hope Elder Nyan and young mistress could come quicker. Attack! The immortal emperor peak stage clearly knew Runin had back up and didn't want to give her any chances. He released a 5-colored claw. It instantly surrounded Runin. She could only barely release Lu Mingguang Yen Bell to form a protection. Good magic artifact, the immortal emperor peak stage said. He knew this was an attack and defensive magic artifact. Greed immediately showed up in his eyes. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2003, Small Test of Strength. Chapter 2003, Small Test of Strength Rumble. The 5-colored claw smashed on the bell. Although the bell was much stronger than the claw, Runin's cultivation level was too weak. Just in that clash, she was smashed away. She spat a few mouthfuls of blood mid-air. The bell dimmed and instantly fell to the ground. If it wasn't for the bell, Runin would be seriously injured. But even though the bell blocked the first attack for her, she couldn't escape from the second attack. Plus, the other person hadn't even moved yet. The immortal emperor peak stage didn't pursue killing Runin, but charged towards the bell. Before he could touch the bell, a wave flashed, and that bell was gone. A blue-robed man held the bell and didn't even look at this immortal emperor peak stage. He stared at Runin. "Yemo, how is it you?" Runin recognized this person and called out in shock. However, she wasn't joyful at all. She knew that even if Yemo helped her, they wouldn't be a match for the other 2. That immortal emperor peak stage was too terrifying. Seeing Runin know this blue-robed immortal emperor, the other immortal emperor tertiary stage stopped and stood with that immortal emperor peak stage. "What's going on? Did you get something good? Why are there 2 immortal emperor tertiary stages chasing after you?" Yemo looked at Runin in confusion. He was wondering where the other people of the Hung God Corner was. Before Runin could reply, that immortal emperor peak stage landed before Yemo. If it wasn't that Yemo took the bell silently, he would have attacked already. He was concerned with how Yemo took the bell, and he didn't notice at all. "Dao friend, are you going to intervene in our affairs?" The immortal emperor peak stage stared at the bell and said, "Intervene? When did you see me attack?" Yemo said in contempt. The immortal emperor peak stage pointed at the bell in Yemo's hands. "The magic artifact is now mine." "You robbed my magic artifact. If that's not attacking, what is?" Hearing this, Yemo raised the bell and said, "This is clearly my magic artifact. When did it become yours?" I sold this bell to Nyo Runin, and she still hasn't paid me the full sum yet. Did she sell this to you? Hearing this, the immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage glanced at Nyo Runin and immediately knew that Emo was telling the truth. Attack! The two Immortal Emperor made eye contact and attack. The other Immortal Emperor released a 4 Cs God Stump and attacked Emo. At the same time, Emo gave the bell back to Domain while expanding his lethal force domain. Emo quite approved of Nyo Runin. He felt this dark skin was a much better person than that beautiful young mistress. With the bell in her hand, Nyo Runin immediately wanted to go help Emo, but at this moment, she found in shock she couldn't break into Yemo's domain at all. Yemo's domain swept out like crazy. This was the first time Emo fused the lethal force from the Qingwei Abyssal River into his domain. Before, he was almost bound by that divine emperor. This made him feel his domain was lacking something. This meant that his domain was too amicable. The murderous Qi from the Abyssal River could make up for this. The two immortal emperors immediately felt huge pressure. They felt that their domain stacked together was weaker than Yemo's domain. Under Yemo's pressure, their domain made cracking sounds. The immortal Emperor Peak Stage's face changed. He realized that Emo was very powerful. The 5-colored claw expanded and activated countless 5-colored lethal beams that loomed over Emo. Nyo Runin could only retreat back again. It was the best time now for her to run, but she never even thought about it. Emo was ganged up on due to her. Even if she couldn't help, she couldn't just run away. When the 4C God Stump activated, boundless waves came. Only now did Emo release Sisu. If it wasn't that Emo wanted to see what their god arts were like, they might even not get the chance to use it. Emo was in a stage where he was fusing all sorts of god arts. The god arts he saw, the more inspiration he would get. Even if his immortal essence hadn't completely converted to god essence, Emo wasn't scared of the two immortal emperors. Now almost all his immortal essence had converted to the stronger god essence. He really didn't care about their attacks. Zisu was released, God Art Crevice. The 30 kilometers long purple sword ray sliced across the void. The space that was touched by the sword instantly crumpled. It was as though the strike took away all the things in the space. The extremely murderous lethal force fused with the sword ray and hacked past the 5-colored lethal beam. The newly formed 5-color lethal beam was like snow that instantly melted under the hot sun. Nyo Runin was watching with her jaws wide open. She had never expected that insignificant purple sword Emo carried on his back would be this powerful. She didn't know that this was Emo suppressing his power. If it wasn't that the space here was very tough and Emo was holding back, he could easily hack out 300 kilometers long sword ray. When Emo hacked out the crevice god art, the surrounding 30 kilometers of space were bound under this sword ray. He was really despaired. He had never thought someone could use sword art god art to this degree. He had seen god art that gathering space lethal force and crumbled space. However, he had never seen someone like Emo gather all the space lethal force into an extremely fine sword ray. The 5-colored lethal beam had completely melted. This immortal Emperor Peak Stage didn't dare to think about anything and forcefully activated the 5-colored claws and blocked in front of him. At the same time, an extremely huge round shield appeared before him. Even if he had to fight with his life, he had to block this move first. The other immortal Emperor Sea waves had 0 chi. Those who were suppressed by it wouldn't even be able to breath. But just when he activated the first wave, a huge fist appeared before the wave. Emo didn't need to use crevice against an immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage. With the void god art smashed out, the first stump immediately tilted. The huge water wave had a hole inside and completely spilled out. The battle formed a huge flood sweeping all the nearby sand away. Thud! Zisu hacked on the round shield, creating this heaven-shocking sound. The immortal Emperor Tertiary Stage was smashed back and spat mouthful of blood in the air. He looked worse than Nyo Runin. The other immortal Emperor's face changed. Before he could react, his team was smashed away by Emo. There was even a deep gash on the forehead. Immediately, he realized that them two combined was no match for Yemo. The immortal Emperor Tertiary stage retreated desperately. The other immortal Emperor Peak stage landed on the ground. He immediately bowed to Yemo. Qianbei. Wanbei offended you. Please forgive me. The immortal Emperor Peak stage put away his magic artifact and quickly retreated with the other immortal emperor. Seeing the two leave, Yemo didn't go hunt them. Only now did Niu Runin come out of her shock. She finally realized why Yemo was here. With his power, it would be strange if he didn't win the tournament. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2004, Betrayed. Chapter 2004, Betrayed. Yemo interrupted Niu Runin and asked, "Why did these two gang up on you? Did you get some top treasure?" Hearing this, Niu Runin hesitated before saying, "It's not mine. It's young mistress's lightning sound ages fruit. She felt Yemo was a good person, and he just saved her life. He didn't know her and dared to let her own him god crystals, so she said it. But then she immediately regretted. Who knew if Yemo would fight for such Dao fruit? What? Ages fruit? Yemo exclaimed in shock. From the jade slip he bought at the marketplace, he knew what the Ages fruit was. Even Yemo would dream to get such Dao fruit. He didn't expect Niu Runin was hunted for this. Yemo's heart heated up. If he could get the fruit and learn time law or just a sliver, it would be a huge increase to his power. Seeing Yemo's shocked tone, Niu Runin's heart sunk. She felt she shouldn't have said this, but then she thought, even if she didn't say it, there would be a reason to immortal Emperor Tertiary stage were hunting her. Yemo could guess she got something good. Thinking about this, Niu Runin quickly said, "This time Dao fruit isn't mine. It's young mistress's." After she grabbed the fruit, she gave it to me and helped stall the people hunting me. "Wait," Yemo interrupted her. "You're saying she gave you the fruit and stayed to stop the others from robbing the fruit?" Niu Runin didn't really want to show the fruit to Yemo and answered, "Yes, but this Dao fruit isn't mine. If it's mine, I'm willing to give it to you to thank you for saving my life." Yemo smiled. "Time Dao fruit is very precious. I want it indeed, but I wouldn't rob yours. Don't worry. I just feel this thing is about strange. It's not that I'm looking down on her, but she's indeed not so much a good person." Hearing this, Niu Runin's face became uneasy. If it wasn't that she owed Yemo and he saved her, she would get angry. Seeing her face, Yemo said, "Since she gave the Dao fruit to you, she would catch up on time. However, you were gained up on by two immortal Emperor Tertiary stages. Other than me, no one came. Even now, I don't see your young mistress. Dao friend Runin, don't tell me you didn't send a message yet, or that young mistress doesn't know how to find you. I won't believe this." Niu Runin's face changed. Things were really as Yemo said. She sent messages, but the young mistress still hasn't come to help her. If it wasn't for Yemo, she would have been long dead. She's helping me cut the chase. She's stopping all those who want to chase for the fruit, or she would be here already. Niu Runin said with low confidence. Yemo sneered. "Everyone saw her throw the Dao fruit to you, right? Since they saw it, would they stop her? Those two hunted you were a good example. Do you think she would waste time there having meaningless battle? If I was her, I would come back you up immediately, but in reality, she didn't come right." Niu Runin's face was bad, and she didn't talk. Yemo added, "Let's imagine this. If the young mistress gave you the time Dao fruit, she would chase up to you immediately. Other people knows the Dao fruit isn't on her, so they wouldn't waste time with her. She didn't come over, so this means she probably didn't give you the time Dao fruit. If she really didn't give it to you, then she wouldn't be coming to find you, but get as far away from you as possible." Niu Runin's face was getting pale. Since young mistress didn't come to back her up immediately, it meant that she probably has a fake Dao fruit. Since she was given the fake box, there was only one reason. She was used as the decoy scapegoat. Niu Runin's face was more and more pale. She didn't dare to keep thinking. She had been with the young mistress for all these years. She had been very loyal. If she was just completely used, she wouldn't be able to accept this fact. Before Yemo said anything, she took out the jade box and opened it. There was a god crystals laying inside. No lightning sound ages fruit. Although he knew what he said was probably, Yemo was still disappointed when he saw the box was fake. He really wanted to see the ages fruit. Nyo-Runin's face was pale. Her face was extremely dejected. If the young mistress was in trouble and her life was needed, she wouldn't hesitate at all. But being used as a bait in sacrifice like this, she was just sad and disappointed. Just when Yemo was thinking about how to leave Nyo-Runin, Nyo-Runin suddenly said, "Since I was very young, my mother left me. The Hung God Corner took me in and raised me up. I've been with the young mistress since then, and she never mistreated me. She even gave me a spot into the mountain. If it wasn't for her, I would have long been dead. Yemo, thanks for saving me. If it wasn't for you, I would be dead today. My life is pretty much returned to the young mistress. I don't know the Hung God Corner anymore. I owe you a life." Yemo quickly interrupted her. "Don't take these small things to heart. I'm going goodbye." "Wait." Nyo-Runin stopped Yemo. Nyo-Runin took out a jade slip and gave it to Yemo. "These are the places with the best Dao fruits and materials in the mountain. You might not know since you have never been here. You can have this." Seeing Yemo take the jade slip, Nyo-Runin said goodbye and left. Yemo scanned the jade slip. The information was a bit obscure, but had an approximate location. Shanyan Cliff. There's often source abstruse silk appearing there. It's a material that could be used to time law magic artifact. It's also said that there's a 7-star extreme well there. This is a well that can refine the body. It can also fuse body refinement god art. Chengzheng Lake. There's frequent discovery of Qing Tao Qilon there. It's a top herb that can be used to concoct Dao molding pills. The jade slip even marked out some routes where time whirlpools appeared. Yemo put the jade slip and was very grateful to Nyo-Runin. She helped him quite a bit. The mountain was boundless and spirit sense was limited. God art was also suppressed. If Nyo-Runin didn't tell him, even if he searched for a year, he might not find these places. If he accidentally went into time whirlpools, he might die. These god necropolis domain powers indeed had their own ways. The first place Yemo chose to go was Muhua Floating Valley. The 7-star extreme well was very important to him. He was now a mortal god body peak. Yemo felt annoyed he couldn't break through to divine body. To him, break through to divine body was important, but more importantly, it was learning god arts. He had quite some god arts, but didn't have a great god art nor a body refinement god art. His body refinement is purely defense. If he could learn a body refinement god art, his power would increase many times. As Yemo walked, his spirit sense carefully scanned out. He had to be careful of time whirlpools. 6 bluish-green herbs appeared in Yemo's spirit sense. Yemo immediately recognized this was red cloud god herb. It was a spirit eye-type god herb. It couldn't be found in the immortal realm. If there was an immortal cultivating spirit eye god art, this herb would be invaluable. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2005. Instant Kill Immortal Emperor. Chapter 2005. Instant Kill Immortal Emperor. Before Yemo could get close to them, 2 dashing lights charged over. Yemo knew this place was the God Mountain and was very careful, but these 2 dashed like lightning without any concern. Moments later, these 2 were only 10 meters from the herbs. Yemo sneered. He found these herbs first. There was no way he was going to give it up easily. Just when Yemo was about to charge up, he saw the 2 people suddenly disappear. This was the first time Yemo had seen such an eerie situation. They definitely didn't have a golden page world like him, and suddenly went in. Yemo subconsciously stopped. An extremely terrifying time flow seemed to have brushed past him. Yemo subconsciously retreated 10 more meters before that feeling was gone. At the same time, he saw the 2 figures again. They were just 3 meters from the place they disappeared. But now, they had become white bones. They went for a few more steps and fell to the ground. When Yemo looked carefully, he noticed there were many bones around those red cloud god herbs. Yemo took in a cold breath. This was too scary. 3-meter distance, a few seconds, and 2 immortal Emperor tertiary stages became bones. Even divine emperors wouldn't be able to do this. Yemo soon realized that there must be an invisible time whirlpool around the red cloud god herb. No matter how much he wanted the herbs, Yemo didn't dare to joke with his life. He called out Shadowless and Small Ginseng and told them the situation here. Shadowless and Small Ginseng shook their heads, clearly didn't know how to go past the time whirlpool. Yemo's spirit sense carefully went forward. His spirit sense went past without any problem. Yemo didn't give up. He used a few spirit sense blades in the time whirlpool. As soon as he did, an extremely powerful time flow blew away his spirit sense. The feeling of losing life came up. Yemo quickly took back his spirit sense, but found that the spirit sense the time whirlpool swept and was gone. Such a powerful time whirlpool. Yemo murmured. It would be fortunate if he wasn't heavily injured in front of this time whirlpool, much less learn time law. The people in the mountain were very careful. If it wasn't for the red cloud god herbs, they wouldn't rush like that. The time whirlpool was strange. It would only be activated with spirit sense waves. It seemed his cultivation level was too low. He couldn't learn the time law here. He had to collect things to increase his cultivation level. After making this decision, Yemo planned to ask Small Ginseng to help him find treasures. Yemo knew that since Neo Runin had that jade slip, other powers would have them too. Perhaps those places were plowed open already. Yemo gave up the red cloud god herbs. Small Ginseng had an innate talent to sense laws. He would be able to sense some subtle time whirlpools. Yemo followed Small Ginseng and soon found tens of good god herbs and a golden-colored golden bell Buddha fruit. Its value wasn't much lower than Age's fruit, but it had no value to Yemo. It could allow one to learn Buddhist god art. To Yemo, if he could see Du Feng Monk, he would give him this Dao fruit. Muhua Hanging Valley should be ahead. We'll go check if there's 7-star extreme well. Small Ginseng followed Shadowless closely. Don't go too far. Yemo saw Small Ginseng with some distance from him and called out. Small Ginseng agreed and ran off with Shadowless. Yemo was helpless. Although the Golden Page world was now a complete 5-element world, Small Ginseng and Shadowless were too lonely inside. They had no playmates. In here, there were immortal spirit beasts and god beasts. Yemo had decided to get some more immortal spirit beasts into the Golden Page world after he went out to prevent his Golden Page world from being too boring. A sharp scream sounded that interrupted Yemo's thoughts. He immediately dashed out. The sound was made by Shadowless. In just 10 seconds, Yemo landed next to Shadowless and Small Ginseng. There were 4 people who had surrounded Small Ginseng and Shadowless. There were 2 Immortal Emperor tertiary stages, 1 Immortal Emperor peak stage, and 1 half-divine. The Immortal Emperor peak stage had blue hair, but his god essence was weaker than the 2 Immortal Emperor tertiary stages. Rumble. Yemo smashed away the Immortal Emperor tertiary stage's black stick attack on Shadowless while releasing Zisu that hung in the air. Who are you? How dare you stop me grabbing Immortal Pet? The Immortal Emperor tertiary stage said. Stop you grab Immortal Pet? Small Ginseng and Shadowless are my friends. What right do you have to grab them? Yemo's face sunk. Your thing? There are all too many things in the mountain. What right do you have to say that this Ice Ginseng King is yours? A woman behind the Immortal Emperor tertiary stage said. Why waste time with him? A mere Immortal Emperor middle stage. Just kill him. The Immortal Emperor peak stage said impatiently. The 2 Immortal Emperor tertiary stage agreed immediately. Okay. Before they finished, 2 magic artifacts were released, 1 black, 1 white, that swept at Yemo. Yemo released, and his murderous Immortal Emperor domain stacked with his spirit sense domain. Yemo wasn't going to show any mercy to those who wanted to kill him. While they still underestimated him, he would kill 2 first. Zisu sliced across the air, and the man and woman immediately felt a powerful space binding. Their immortal emperor domains crumbled like eggs. Rumble. The white and black mag struck with Zisu's splashing rays in the void. A subtle space ripple spread out. The half-divine's face changed. His heaven-shocking lamp had been released. He chose a very good time, but even so, he was still a bit slow. Zisu brought out 2 bloody mists. These 2 immortal Emperor tertiary stages were killed in one move. They didn't even completely release their god arts. It's not that they couldn't use it, but that they didn't take EMO seriously at all. However, as soon as they clashed, they realized they were severely wrong, and this cost them their lives. 2 essence spirits seeped out and was gulped by Shadowless, who was waiting on the side. The immortal Emperor peak stage was just a bit slower than that half-divine. His face changed immediately and released his Wither Zen dual swords. Yemo wasn't worried about that. He was worried about the heaven-shocking lamp. Upon release, it formed heaven-covering light that locked onto him. The endless light were like stars falling that smashed towards Yemo. Yemo felt his essence spirit was about to cripple. He couldn't even gather his god essence. Although the half-divine didn't stop him from killing the 2 immortal emperors, he chose the perfect opportunity to attack, putting him at the lower hand. Those lights spun more rapidly until it grew brighter and brighter. This reminded Yemo of his Heaven Flame 9 Suns. Heaven Flame 9 Suns grew more and more brighter later on. Under the binding of the light, Yemo could clearly feel the terror of these lights, and he could feel that the more the light spun, the stronger his domain was. If this continued, Yemo wouldn't even be able to take back Zisu. Shadowless saw this and flapped his wings towards that half-divine and bit down. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2006. Muhua Floating Valley. Chapter 2006. Muhua Floating Valley. This gathering light domain was bitten a hole by Shadowless. Yemo felt easy, and before the lamp could fill the hole up, he punched out. Fist God, Arch Shatter Sky. At the same time, Shadowless was smashed back by the backlash of the domain and smashed into a huge mountain rock. Yemo was planning to burn his god essence to break free from the domain, but Shadowless helped him, so he didn't hesitate at all. 9 void lethal forces rose, and this space was instantly swept inside. The endless light was suppressed by the fist wind before it could be repaired. The 9 fist forces clashed with the endless light. The endless light seemed to have been smashed by asteroid and scattered to a few hundred kms nearby. The half-divine saw that his heaven-shocking lamp domain was broken by Yemo and was extremely shocked. He still had other means, but only he knew that the time you picked to ambush Yemo was perfect, and yet under such situation, he still wasn't able to make Yemo seriously injured. Yemo's power was definitely no weaker than his. His heaven-shocking lamp lit up again. An eerie light came up that charged at Yemo's fist wind. At this moment, the blue-haired immortal Emperor Tertiary stage finally released his magic artifact. The 2 swords sealed Yemo's surroundings like 2 sword dragons. Yemo raised his hand, and a huge drum appeared before him. Dong dong dong. Yemo struck the drum 9 times, but it sounded like tens of thousands of horses racing. The sky became dark with lethal force. The 2 immortal emperors attacking Yemo felt endless immortal soldiers raising their spears and attacking. This wasn't the battle between 3, but between millions. Yemo didn't take back the fist wind and raised out a few more lightning bolts. Before, Yemo was almost backlashed by the drum sound with just 1 strike, but now he struck it 9 times and was completely fine. The dual swords was suppressed by the drum sounds and could only circulate around Yemo's domain. The eerie green light of the half-divine was also suppressed and immediately slowed down. However, Yemo's 5 lightning lights were becoming clearer. Those drum sounds struck the half-divine's chests, making his god essence cripple. But this wasn't the end. At the same time, 5 extremely clear lightning spears appeared. The half-divine's face changed. Although his domain was bit open by Shadowless, it was still under a slight upper hand. But when the drums sounded, he was at the lower hand. Now that the 5 lightning spears was about to smash down, and he was completely bound to it, how could he keep attacking EMO at the same time? The green light changed directions and swept at the 5 lightning spear destruction. Rumble. The lightning spears smashed with the green light, creating this huge, shocking sound that exploded all the nearby space, destroying the nearby forest and small hill. More than half of the lightning spears was gone, but it kept falling. It just wasn't as powerful as before. The heaven-shocking lamp suddenly expanded, becoming a red sun. Crack! A few more sounds appeared, and the remaining lightning spear completely smashed on the heaven-shocking lamp. The lamp immediately dimmed down and even made a cracking sound. The half-divine blocked Yemo's Shatter Space God art and the drum sound, as well as the 5 lightning spear destruction. However, his face became pale. After blocking the 5 lightning spear destruction, he immediately put away his lamp and dashed away. A half-divine and an Immortal Emperor peak stage was attacking Yemo together, but he fell first. Seeing this half-divine run, Yemo had no power to chase him. Seeing this, the blue-haired Immortal Emperor peak stage's face looked back. He wanted to take back his magic artifact and run, but Yemo was facing him alone now. How could he run easily? Yemo's Immortal Emperor domain and Spirit Sense domain completely expanded, binding this Immortal Emperor peak stage before punching again. This Shatter Sky gathered a few void lethal force and completely sealed off his exit. The blue-haired Immortal Emperor was already no match for Yemo. Now that he just wanted to run, he had less chances of stopping Yemo's God art. He wasn't that half-divine. Although he was Immortal Emperor peak stage, he was weaker than ordinary Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. Facing such a powerful lethal blow, he could only beg, "Don't attack. I'm Zichen God Corner's Hellion Yul. I'm from the Hellion family." For those who wanted to kill him, Yemo wasn't going to let them go even if they were the God Lord. Shatter Sky's fist force swept the blue-haired Immortal Emperor to pulp. 3 storage rings fell into Yemo's golden page world. Then he walked up to Shadowless and asked what was going on. Shadowless was thick-skinned, and although he was smashed away by the half-divine's domain, he was fine. Small Ginseng quickly said, "I felt a top treasure here, and just when I was charging forward, I was stopped by those 4. Shadowless quickly said that blue-haired saw through that Small Ginseng was Ice Ginseng King and wanted to capture Small Ginseng. Of course we didn't agree, but before I attacked, I was attacked by that woman. He offended another power. Yemo just didn't bother to think about it, and said to Small Ginseng, "Small Ginseng, lead the way. Let's see where that treasure is." He offended too many people. When the mountain was about to open, he would just stay in here. He found what he wanted anyways. If he wasn't afraid that people would find the tunnel to the Immortal Realm, he would rather go back to the Immortal Realm. Yemo really didn't like this god Necropolis domain. Hearing that Yemo was going to find what he sensed, Small Ginseng immediately came and dashed out in a white light. Yemo didn't dare to follow from afar and stuck close by Small Ginseng. In less than 2 hours, Small Ginseng came to a huge valley. What made Yemo feel amazed was that there were steep cliffs on the 2 sides of the valley. The lower half of the cliff was covered by mist, and only the top half showed. From a distance, it was like floating in the air. The valley was wide and deep. Spirit Sense couldn't even scan to its edges. Even if Yemo didn't ask, he knew this was Mu Hua Floating Valley. Small Ginseng didn't stop and charged in immediately. 5 minutes later, Small Ginseng had to stop. 2 Immortal Emperors were having a huge battle here that almost turned the valley around. Yemo could tell that both of them were Immortal Emperor tertiary stage. The long-haired man was stronger, meanwhile the gray-robed man looked older. "Boss, there's just some way to there, but these 2 are blocking our way," Small Ginseng said angrily. If there was no special situation, Yemo wouldn't want to fly in here. These 2 were having such an intense battle that it sealed the path shut. Yemo could only go up and say, "You 2 please wait a bit. Let us pass." If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. The nearby space was completely bound, and even the old man's spirit sense was locked on. He couldn't even make a word, even if he wanted to beg for mercy. He could only watch as the void lethal force came. His eyes were full of regret and terror. He didn't expect he messed with someone this tough so casually. Thud! The void fist force smashed together, and the old man's body exploded. He couldn't even move his finger and could only watch. This only happened in a second. The long-haired immortal emperor noticed the ambush, but that dark ray domain was too strong, and he couldn't break free. Luckily, Shadowless bit open the domain, and Yemo's Shatter Sky tore this domain open. The long-haired immortal emperor immediately used the opportunity to move aside, but even so, the dark ray still took away all the clothes on him, as well as some flesh. One could imagine that if he was a bit later, that dark ray would heavily injure him. Before he could breathe easy, he saw Yemo punch the old man to dust. That extremely fierce and terrifying lethal force made the long-haired man shiver even though he wasn't at the full front of it. Such powerful fist force. The long-haired man rejoiced that he didn't forcefully block the way, or he would be the one dead. No wonder this immortal emperor, middle stage, dared to roam around with an ice ginseng king. With such power, who would dare to attack him? He even suspected that Yemo was fishing for an excuse to kill people. Just when the man wanted to walk to Yemo and thank him, a huge explosion stopped him. The long-haired man didn't mind. He knew that it was the dark ray hitting a cliff. "Boss, it's this place, it's been smashed open." Small Ginseng quickly came over and pointed at the cliff. Yemo already saw it. An extremely dense god spirit Chi-Chi with slivers of Tao waves diffused. There was also an extremely good aroma that purified cultivation and the body. 7-star extreme well, the long-haired man called out in shock. A huge stone pond appeared, and inside was extremely clear liquid. The god spirit Chi that seeped out squeezed away the clouds, making it seem like an immortal pond floating in the air. It's indeed 7-star extreme well, not bad. Small Ginseng did huge work this time, Yemo said happily. The next moment, Yemo took a storage ring and landed on the side of the well. He took out a jade kettle that wasn't very big. Yemo was an immortal artifact grandmaster. Although it was hard to buy dimensional jade kettles for others, but Yemo made a pile in the Golden Page world to collect treasures like this. The long-haired man's face changed a few times, but he eventually didn't dare to do anything. The 7-star extreme well was precious, but he didn't have the balls to fight over it with Yemo. However, he also flew over and saluted with his fist to Yemo, "This Tao friend. Thank you for saving my life. I want to see if there would be 7-star extreme wells on the side. Would that affect Tao friend?" Yemo looked and nodded, "Do as you please." The long-haired man rejoiced and immediately started to dig places not far from Yemo's 7-star extreme well. He had researched many information before and knew that around the 7-star extreme well, there would be side wells. This is still 7-star extreme well, but just as less quantity. When the original 7-star extreme well was full, the liquid would flow to another place, so that place was side well. The liquid in the well was brought out by Yemo and flowed into the jade kettle like a water fountain. One couldn't even stop the extremely pure well chi from spreading. Yemo knew that this would definitely attract people to come. He had to collect this quickly. Crack! Yemo knew that the other man succeeded because after this crack, there was more well chi seeping out. Found it! The long-haired man rejoiced. Yemo looked over. 10 meters from him, there was a sink-sized well. Yemo didn't plan to fight over it. He already had this much, so he didn't need more. Plus, the man found it himself. The man wasn't slower than Yemo and instantly took out a jade bottle and quickly filled up the well. At this moment, a few more dashing lights came in, and Yemo just finished collecting the well water. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2008, Talk with Power. Chapter 2008, Talk with Power, 7-star extreme well. A few shocked voices and 4 figures landed. Then, 2 more dashing lights came and called out the same words. Yemo landed and waved to Shadowless and Small Ginseng. Let's go. The long-haired man saw this and quickly followed Yemo. Wait. At least 3 of the 6 came out and stopped Yemo. Yemo frowned. He knew that he took all the well water, so it was probably hard for him to leave peacefully. Ice Ginseng King. Another person saw Small Ginseng and exclaimed. Yemo was only Immortal Emperor peak stage, and yet got this mini 7-star extreme well water and the Ice Ginseng King. Even the Dragon Horse probably wasn't simple. People's eyes immediately went red. Yemo waved his hand and took Shadowless and Small Ginseng. At the same time, Zissou floated in the air. Since this was unavoidable, he might as well fight. The strongest here was only Immortal Emperor peak stage, and there was only one. One person here was even Immortal Monarch peak stage. Yemo didn't need to worry about this at all, nor need Shadowless help. Seeing Yemo put away Small Ginseng and Shadowless, a few people sneered. It was pointless to put away things that were already seen. At this moment, 3 more dashing lights came. Yemo was speechless as Yemo knew 2 of them. It was the 2 that stopped Nyo Runin and was taught a lesson by Yemo. The 3 immediately saw the empty 7-star extreme well, but then the other 2 Immortal Emperors recognized Yemo. Their faces changed, but they didn't leave. They stood afar and watched. Seeing one of the 2 was Immortal Emperor peak stage. The first 6 who came saluted with their fists to the 3. The Immortal Emperor peak stage in the group of 6 was white-skinned, but his eyes looked evil. He greeted the 3 and walked up to the long-haired man. Dao friend, you've got quite some luck. The well is that big here, you probably got quite a lot, right? The long-haired man saluted with his fists. I got some well water, but I got the side one. As for the main well, it's because I came a bit late. The Immortal Emperor peak stage dazed. To him, it was Yemo and the long-haired Immortal Emperor who split the 7-star extreme well. Yemo was weaker, so he must have gotten less, but the results were different. Then he reacted and smiled to the long-haired man. Dao friend, you're a nice person. I admire you. The side well was only the size of a water sink, not even 1/10 of the main well. Yet, the man still didn't rob Yemo's well. The long-haired man smiled, but said nothing. Was he a good person? He felt Yemo was a good person. If it was someone else, he wouldn't even get the sides. This evil-eyed Immortal Emperor peak stage looked at Yemo and casually saluted with his fists. Dao friend, you're quite lucky to get an entire well of 7-star extreme well. I'm Hung Home God Corner Kong. There's plenty of treasures in the mountain, but the 7-star extreme well is extremely rare. Since everyone saw it, can you share some? Yemo smiled, of course. There's that mini 7-star extreme wells. I can't use it all. Yikong laughed. Dao friend nice. How about this? Take out the 7-star extreme well, and I'll split it up. Seeing that Yemo was willing to share the 7-star extreme well, he immediately knew Yemo was scared. He was facing 9 Immortal Emperors, and Yemo was only an Immortal Emperor middle stage. How could Yemo not be scared? The 2 Immortal Emperors who had seen Yemo before knew he definitely wasn't so easy to talk to. They saw others go up, but they stayed afar. Why should I let you split my things? Yemo said plainly, but killing chi was gathering around Zissou. He was about to attack. Feeling Yemo's faint killing chi, Yikong frowned and said coldly, didn't you say you can't use this mini 7-star extreme well water and wanted to share it? Are you regretting? Yemo smiled. Of course I won't regret, but if you want my well water, you need to trade it. You guys didn't take anything out and want me to share the well water with you. Do you want to rob me? Yikong heard this and was furious. So you're playing with me? Then, His force rose as killing intent circulated around him. Before he could attack, the brown-robed immortal Emperor Tertiary stage next to him went up first and released a rusty ghost chain and attacked Yemo, Martial Brother Kong. You don't need to deal with this cocky bastard. I, Guan Ruisi, am enough. As soon as the ghost chains came out, the valley became ghastly. It was as though countless ghosts came alive. Howling ghost voices sounded with the black smoke that was about to tear Yemo apart. The long-haired man, standing not far, felt his mind unstable and immediately retreated while releasing his defensive magic artifact. The ghost chains are not bad, Yemo said, and sliced with Zissou. He really felt the ghost chains were good, but this immortal Emperor Tertiary stage couldn't fully activate it. Yemo expanded his domain out, and the gray-robed Immortal Emperor's domain cracked like an egg. The Immortal Emperor immediately knew he wrongly estimated Yemo's cultivation level, but Zissou already smashed down on the ghost chains with the space-lethal force. Rumble. Essence Chi blasted, and the nearby Immortal Emperors released their magic artifacts while retreating quickly. Ikang's face changed. He instantly realized that Guan Ruisi was no match for Yemo. He instantly released his magic artifact, but the long purple sword ray had already hacked on the ghost chains. Sizzling sounds came, and the endless ghost figures were melted into nothing but the purple rays. Guan Ruisi felt his ghost chains shiver. The long purple sword ray suddenly cracked, and then turned into heaven covering purple shards that enveloped him. At this moment, Guan Ruisi was completely in despair. He realized that even if he didn't underestimate Yemo could still kill him easily. Splurge. Blood mist sprayed, and the Immortal Emperor Tertiary stage, who was going to kill Yemo a few seconds ago, was turned to dust. At this moment, Ikang's five-flamed Qianquan wheel was just released. Yemo didn't put away Zissou. He flew up and punched. Yemo felt very satisfied. His crevice god art finally broke through just then forming endless crevice shards. He derived this from illusion Cloud 9 strikes and heaven-shocking lamp domain. After crevice cracked, the endless sword rays can form another domain strike. If it enveloped the opponent, it would kill for sure. Before the five sun-like rings of the wheel spread out, it was swept by Yemo's fist force. Rumble, 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 rumble. After 5 huge explosions, flame shot everywhere, and this space and earth was completely turned to dust. Even the 2 valleys were powdered. Ikang flew back, and there was a sliver of blood at the corner of his mouth. He was extremely shocked. Although he attacked in a rush, Yemo attacked after Yemo killed an Immortal Emperor. Yemo counterattacked in a rush. Thinking about this, Ikang soon realized he was far from a match for Yemo. Ikang stumbled a few steps. His face was pale. He finally realized why Yemo didn't care. He didn't need to care. Even if 6 more of them came, Yemo could just go. If Yemo wanted to go, who here could stop him? The long-haired man breathed easy. If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A, and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. Chapter 2009, Tao Essence Divine Estate. Chapter 2009, Tao Essence Divine Estate. Out of the first 6 people who came, 1 was instantly killed, and the Immortal Emperor Peak stage was smashed away. The remaining 4 had 1 Immortal Monarch and 2 Immortal Emperor primary stages. Their faces were extremely pale and subconsciously looked at the 3 who came later. They finally realized why there was 2 who didn't come up. They already knew how strong Yemo was. Essaying Yemo, take the storage ring and ghost chain and walk towards him. Ikang quickly put away his wheel and saluted with his fists. I was too impulsive. I'm willing to compensate for Tao Friend's losses. Seeing Yemo completely ignore him, Ikang said again, there's a Tao Essence Divine Estate in the mountain. I've just got news and sensed the well chi here. That's why I came over. Yemo stopped. Tao Essence was the pinnacle of the god Necropolis domain. He must go check out the Tao Essence Estate. Up until now, his three-birth chant didn't have Tao Vindication cultivation method, mainly because he had never come in contact with a Tao Vindication Divine Emperor. Even though he was hunted by one, he didn't fight one. Tell me where it is, and I'll let you live, Yimo said plainly. Ikon quickly said the Tao Essence Divine Estate is at Chengzheng Lake. People were searching for Qing Tao Qi Lan there and accidentally activated the ancient Tao Essence Divine Estate. It's said that this place might be left behind by a powerful being before the god Necropolis domain was broken. There would be top-level divine Tao cultivation method and god art. Okay, if you don't want my well water, then piss off, Yimo said. Ikang's face showed a sliver of anger, but he quickly hid it and said, Tao friend, that 3-treasure ghost chain is one of the top magic artifact of our Hung Hong God Corner. Please, you want it? Yimo looked asked. Ikang bit his teeth and said yes, that's something very important to us. We're willing to pay some price for it. Yimo said, you can have it back if you use a Tao fruit to trade it. Any Tao fruit will do, otherwise no deal. If you can give me Lightning Sound Ages fruit, I can not only give the chains back, but also give you a bottle of 7-star extreme well water. Yimo said loudly, but no one at the scene reacted. He knew that these people definitely didn't get the fruit. Seeing Yimo about to leave, Ikong was really desperate. He quickly sound transmission to Yimo, Tao friend. I really don't have Tao fruit, but I know who does, and I know he has 2 Lightning Sound Ages fruit. Yimo said coldly, what does that have to do with you? Do you think I'm going to give you the ghost chains if you told me who has the Lightning Sound Ages fruit? Seeing Yimo speak out his sound transmission, Ikong didn't dare to blame Yimo and said, I know that person will be going to the ancient Tao Essence Divine Estate, and I know he really wants the well water. If Tao friend is willing to trade with the well water, I believe he's willing to give out a Lightning Sound Ages fruit. Lead the way. When I see the person, I will give it to you, otherwise you can wait to die. Yimo sneered. Ikong was furious, but he could only suppress his anger and lead the way at the front. Qianbei, the 2 immortal emperors who were beaten away by Yimo before, could only greet Yimo. Yimo knew that they were only like this due to his power, and if he was weaker, they would come attack him without hesitation. However, there were all sorts of people like this everywhere. He didn't need to care that much. He just needed to increase his power. Seeing Yimo head towards the Changzheng Lake, the rest of the people followed, but the long-haired immortal emperor changed direction and left. The reason Changzheng Lake was famous was because Qing Tao Qi Lan would often be found here. It was a material used for concocting top-level Tao molding pills. Those who came to the mountain would all go there for a spin. Who would give up Tao vindication? If one vindicated Tao, the first step would be Tao molding. The best material for learning Tao molding was Qing Tao Qi Lan. However, this herb was very rare in the god Necropolis domain, even in the Changzheng Lake. Changzheng Lake was half a day's distance from the floating valley because they couldn't fly. If they could fly, they would be able to get there in half an hour. When Yimo came to the outskirts of the lake, he found there were already 50 people here. These people surrounded a huge lake. The lake looked boundless and had a layer of mist. The white mist seemed to have materialized. Yimo's spirit sense blade scanned out and forced open the white mist. He found that the water underneath was red like blood. There was also some cold killing chi inside. When Yimo and them came over, they just casually glanced and didn't care. Most of them were staring inside the lake. Yimo frowned when he saw the lake water was this strange. Tao friend, it's that person wearing the yellow cloud robes who has 2 Tao fruits. He's a body refinement cultivator, and he definitely needs the 7-star extreme well. Ikong quickly sound transmission to Yimo. Yimo already saw that body refinement immortal. His muscles bulged up, and essence chi formed faint ripples around him. His cultivation level was half divine. It was no wonder he dared to appear after getting 2 Lightning Sound Ages fruits. Who is this person? Give me a set off Changzheng Lake information. Yimo said casually. Ikong said, Changzheng Lake has been a place producing lots of Qing Tao Qi Lan since the ancient times. The lake water is red. It's fabled that an ancient gray dragon molded his Tao here, but he encountered an unprecedented divine damnation. This divine damnation took the divine damnation, but his essence spirit cracked due to this and died here. Eventually, his essence blood and essence chi formed the lake, and the Qing Tao Chi lawn next to the lake has a sliver of dragon will. It's more valuable than Qing Tao Qi lawn from other places. The lake's surface is so flat. Even if there were Qing Tao Chi lawn, wouldn't it be harvested away? Yimo asked. Ikong answered, people can't see the lake every time the mountain opens as the mountain opens from a different position. So in time, people can find Qing Tao Chi lawn around the lake. Yimo nodded and looked at the half-divine. Tell me about this person. He's very mysterious. It said he's not from the 16 God Corners and 5 castles. After he came here, he went around challenging everyone, and no one was a match for him. He killed a few top prodigies. Later, there was Tao Vindication Divine Emperor attacking him, but he has an extremely powerful space mobility technique. Even Divine Emperors find it very difficult to keep him. If any Divine Emperor attacked him, he would come back to revenge the Divine Emperor's sect after a while. As time went on, no one dares to mess with him. Ikong subconsciously looked at the half-divine. The half-divine seemed to have felt someone look at him. He looked up and glanced over coldly. Ikong subconsciously shivered and sound transmissioned. He knows we're discussing about him. Yimo threw out the ghost chains and said, you have no business here. Ikong took the ghost chains and quickly left. He didn't want to be connected with Yimo at all. However, before Yimo went over, that half-divine came over. He studied Yimo from head to toe before saying in a coarse voice, you were prying news about me? If you find any errors, broken links, non-standard content, etc., please let us know so we can fix it as soon as possible. Tip: you can use left, right, A and D keyboard keys to browse between chapters. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.